Only last night, he was clinking glasses, celebrating the finish line. Sure, he was just a B-rank hunter. So the turnout was modest. Just the inner circle. They toasted to the nest egg he'd scraped together over 20 years of dungeons, blood, and grit. Deed in his pocket, bank account fat, he was ready to retire in peace, but fate loves a cruel plot twist. Eyes snap open, a ceiling he hasn't seen in decades. The student dorms, heart hammering. He grabs his phone, 2018. The phone smashes against the wall. Is this some kind of sick joke? He screams, reality fracturing. Why now? Why here? He was inches from freedom. Why drag him back to the tutorial level? The sheer injustice makes him want to tear the room down to the studs. Head in hands, spiraling. What did I do to deserve this? Then a shimmer on his wrist. The watch. Young Chul's gift. It traveled back with him. Flashback to June's hush warning. This isn't just jewelry. It's a relic. Rumor claims it's an artifact from the Byron continent, linked to the Archmage Tittle. Did this thing pull the trigger on time itself? He was examining it right before drifting off. Suddenly, bang, the door shutters. Screaming from the hallway shatters his train of thought. Loud, entitled, Lim's memory clicks. It's the neighbor from hell, the landlord's bratty son. Kid thinks owning the bricks makes him a king. Karaoke till dawn, booze flowing, and always shaking Lim down for lunch money. I know you're in there, Lim. The threat hangs heavy. He's about to kick the door in. Just the thought of this clown makes Lim's blood boil. Lim yanks the door open, a predator's grin on his face. What took you so long? The brat sneers. Having a party in there? Lim scans him. Hunter instincts engage. Designer threads, jacket stitched from genuine monster leather. The kid starts whining about psychological damage from Lim's noise. Claims he almost dialed the cops but decided to be merciful to a broke student. Compensate my suffering, and we're good. Then, greed flares. His eyes lock onto Lim's watch. That looks pricey. Hand it over, and we're square. He reaches out. Fatal error. Lim swats the hand away like a fly. Palm meets face, crack. Instant nosebleed. Before the brat can blink, Lim grabs a fistful of hair and introduces his face to a knee. Hard. You enjoy preying on the weak. Lim's voice is ice. It doesn't make up for years of torment, but it's a start. He decides to let him breathe. Consider the debt paid. He announces his eviction. As he walks away, the timeline starts snapping into focus. This specific date, the construction site disaster, the day his knee was shattered, ending his career before it even began. He tests the leg. 0 pain. Pristine condition. He's mastered mana control for 20 years. Relearning the basics is child's play. The snag, the hardware is outdated, malnourished, scrawny. How did I survive like this? His stomach roars. He needs calories. Stat. He scans the horizon. Nothing but construction zones. And then it hits him. This is why the lesser gate went unnoticed. In the original timeline, it was a slaughterhouse. A scream tears through the air. Space warps right before his eyes. Panic erupts. Civilians scattering like insects. From the rift, a speckled red beast charges out. Razor fangs dripping with anticipation. An old man screams at him to run. But Lim freezes not in terror, but recognition. The nightmare is back. He needs a weapon. Eyes dart there. A rusty claw hammer. He snatches it up and marches straight into the kill zone. A little girl is cornered, crying for her father. The wolf lunges, jaws snapping shut. Lim moves. He dives, shielding her with his own body. Run to your dad, go. The pack shifts focus to fresh meat. No hesitation. Hammer meets skull with a sickening crunch. The beast whimpers. A second one tries to flank. Instinct takes over. A low kick to the jaw stuns it. He pivots, putting his whole back into the swing. Impact. The wolf goes flying, but mid-combat, his stomach growls again. Seriously, I'm starving. He stares at the pack. The wolves pause, sensing a shift. Lim isn't looking at them like prey. You guys look meaty. You know, he grins. Wolf steaks are actually a delicacy. The hunter becomes the chef. Hunger is a powerful motivator. He lost 20 years of levels, sure, but these knees brand new factory parts. No pain, just potential. He ducks a snap, vaults over the beast, and brings his heel down, axe kick one down, Another fills the gap instantly. Is there a factory churning these things out? The hammer is chipping, cheap steel. He needs a real weapon. He glances at his wrist. The watch. He wraps his fist and connects. Boom! The wolf drops cold. Not a scratch on the artifact. Indestructible. How many left? 10. Easy work. Sirens wail in the distance. The cavalry finally arrives. Saved by the bell, Lim checks his gear jacket is shredded. First time wearing this. Damn it. He's genuinely annoyed about the fashion. An officer rushes up, breathless. You held the line. We need your details for the reward. Lim Dae-In, currently unemployed. He pauses, and technically unregistered. Seeing as I only woke up, he means awakened a few hours ago. He scribbles a number. Just mail the check. Muttering a vague excuse about urgent business, Lim slipped into the crowd like a ghost, leaving the desperate recruiter screaming at empty air, begging him to wait. The interview was a bust, but as Lim widened the gap, the recruiter tried to cope. He had a name, he had a number, and that would have to be enough. Meanwhile, the city streets were already electric with the news. Rumors spread like a contagion about a fresh awakened, barely 20 years old. The Phoenix Guild blew up his phone first, but Lim, he ignored the chaos. He had more important things to do, like demolishing a bowl of beef soup. One spoonful, and his eyes practically glowed savory perfection. But the culinary bliss was short-lived. His phone started buzzing off the table with violent intensity. The hero smirked. Bad news travels fast, but power travels faster. It was a seller's market, and everyone was thirsty for superhumans. They had seen the combat footage. For a rookie, his instincts were lethal. Lim crunched the numbers. If the year was 2018, then it had been exactly 2 years since the last gate opened. That was the tipping point. The moment mana-wielding superhumans began shoving the police and military aside to become the new law of the land. Welcome to the era of guilds. Every time a new powerhouse popped up, it triggered a ruthless bidding war. And this was exactly the chaotic timeline Lim had returned to conquer. Rogue superhumans were running riot, and humanity still didn't have a playbook for the monster outbreaks. It was the absolute Wild West out here. With the 6 disasters looming on the horizon, Lim knew the score. His game plan was simple: weaponize his knowledge of the future to secure a plush retirement in exactly 3 years. And he wasn't settling for a quiet life, he wanted luxury. Notification chimes played a constant symphony on his phone, a chaotic melody that sounded surprisingly sweet to his ears. A shadow fell across his table. A stranger leaned in, asking if he was Lim Dae-In. Between spoonfuls of soup, the hero nodded and coolly demanded a name. The man straightened his tie. Kim Gil-soo, manager for the prestigious ruling family guild. He had frame by frame analyzed the viral footage of Lim slaughtering those monsters. Kim was ready to sign him right there, checkbook in hand, assuming Lim was still a free agent. But before the pitch could land, a sharp voice sliced through the noise. A woman marched into the room, eyes locked on the viral star like a predator. She noted instantly that Lim Dae-In looked even more impressive in the flesh than he did on a screen. Then, a representative from the Warrior Guild shouldered his way in. The floodgates burst open, and suddenly, Lim's quiet lunch turned into a crowded summit of desperate headhunters. Arguments erupted as they fought over the prospect. Lim slammed his spoon down, clang, demanding silence. One more word, he warned, and no amount of cash would buy his signature. He suggested a change of scenery. Once they relocated to a private room, Lim set the tone immediately. He wasn't going to waste his time, and he certainly wasn't going to waste theirs. He cut straight to the jugular. What was the signing bonus? Kim Gil-soo tried to play hardball, claiming the contract details were confidential trade secrets. He questioned why Lim wouldn't hear their pitches one by one. Lim, casually dissecting a slice of cake, looked Kim dead in the eye. You are with the ruling family guild, right? Kim puffed up, boasting of their 18-month tradition of excellence. Lim simply wiped his mouth and wished him a safe trip home. Kim froze. Rejection, just like that. Why would he board a sinking ship? Lim knew their management was a dumpster fire, and more importantly, he knew they were destined to be swallowed up by a merger before the ink was even dry. Lim turned to the room, checking his watch for the next bidder. Desperate, a junior associate behind Kim screamed out a number 1 billion won. That broke the dam. Managers began shouting figures, driving the price higher and higher. Lim sipped his tea, completely unfazed. silently wondering what the Black Hounds would put on the table. He remembered the Hounds fondly from his previous timeline. Suddenly, a voice cut through the chaos. 2 billion. The manager swore it was the absolute ceiling for a rookie salary. She promised top-tier benefits and lucrative mining rights, claiming no one could match her offer. It was the woman from earlier. She introduced herself as Beck, manager of the White House Guild. They were a startup, barely a blip on the radar. But she vowed they would crack the top 3 within 3 years. Lim smirked. That explained her aggression. He dismissed the room, asking everyone but Miss Beck to hit the bricks. He told the rejects to leave their business cards at the door, now alone. Beck confessed she had analyzed his combat footage on a loop during the drive over. His technique was flawless, terrifyingly so for someone who was a civilian just 24 hours ago. Lim appreciated the hustle. She had actually done her homework. It was a classy way to admit she had background checked him. Bake was convinced he was either a combat prodigy or had rolled god-tier base stats upon awakening. She wanted to build the future of the White House on his shoulders. As Lim scanned the paperwork, he chuckled in his past life. He never would have dreamed of a deal this sweet. He asked if she was open to amendments. Beck watched intently as the pen scratched across the paper, aggressively adding clauses to her standard contract. Her eyes widened. She accused him of joking, but the hero's face was stone cold. "Read it," he insisted. "I am not playing games." There, in black and white, a 4-day work week, strict 9 to 5 hours, and the absolute right to refuse long-term missions. Her professional mask cracked. This had to be a prank, but Lim didn't blink. Take it or leave it. She demanded to know where a rookie got the nerve. Lim simply promised she wouldn't regret it. Abruptly, Beck stood up. She needed to run this by legal and would return in a few days. Then, a shift in tone, she suggested that next time, they skip the coffee and go straight for drinks. Lim remained impassive. He knew better than to get entangled. Nothing good ever came from mixing business with pleasure. She assumed he was ignorant of her lineage, unaware that he knew exactly who her father, the guildmaster, was. Lim finished his tea. It was time to make his awakening official. The scene shifts to the Korean branch of the Disaster Management Center. The clerk peered over the counter, asking if he was ready to process his registration immediately. At the superhuman support desk, a flustered rookie explained that her supervisor was out. She was visibly overwhelmed, admitting she wasn't authorized to handle this level of paperwork alone. Lim checked the time. He couldn't wait around all day. He pressed her to find a workaround. Nervous, she grabbed the phone to dial her superior. Good. Lim needed this red tape cut so he could vanish. The girl stammered into the receiver, trying to explain the situation. "There is a young man here to register," she reported. She turned to Lim, asking for his classification. He shrugged. Pure physical enhancement. No spells, no special skills. It was a bold-faced lie. In this era, magic was considered a myth, and unless he demonstrated it, they would never know. And in this timeline, Lim had decided to keep his true power deep in the shadows. "All right, let's see what you're made of." The proctor marches him straight to the weight room and points to a fully loaded barbell. "Get it up." Lim wraps one hand around the cold steel. With a grunt that sounds more like a bored sigh, he jerks it skyward like it's made of styrofoam. The proctor's jaw unhinges. You're actually a superhuman. 200 kilograms, just floating there." Lim shifts his stance, feeling the weight of her stare more than the iron. Could you believe me?" She stammers out an apology, frantically waving for him to drop it. She slides a temporary superhuman ID across to him, fingers shaking. "We'll be in touch the second the plastic dries on your official license." Lim nods his thanks and turns to bail. Terrible timing. He nearly face plants into a guy entering the lobby. Lim freezes. It's the head of Kai Hyan. Pure panic sets in. He needs to ghost this guy fast. Ju Song-wook, the poster boy for superhuman support and a walking disaster magnet. Lim keeps his head down, silently vowing to never set foot in this zip code again. Ju Sang-wook stops, tracking the retreating figure. That the new blood, the receptionist nods, beaming. "Yes, sir, that's Lim D, the one I briefed you on." A wolfish grin spreads across Ju's face. "Ah, the supernova." Cut to black. We fade back in at the pollution control area, a restricted rot zone surrendered to the monsters. But where the world sees a dump, Lim sees a gold mine. In exactly 1 year, a dimensional gate is gonna rip the sky open right here. The Gaia continent land of knights and magic is on a collision course with Earth, a literal clash of civilizations. And of all the rifts tearing through Korea, Ground Zero is right here. Lim smirks. The second that contract cash clears, he's buying this scrapyard. When that gate opens, he won't just be a hunter, he'll be a tycoon. He's mentally counting his billions when a scream cuts through the silence. Back off or I'll kill you. A desperate shriek. Lim halts. He tilts his head. That's not Korean. She's screaming in the native tongue of Gaia. One step closer and you're dead. The threats are frantic. Lim recognizes the dialect. He knows he should walk away, but curiosity is a dangerous thing. He bolts toward the sound. Time to vanish. Lim triggers his concealment skill. His silhouette dissolves, melting into the shadows. This is the ability that made him a ghost built for spying, scouting, and assassination. He glides through the wreckage, checking his six, no tail, clear. The hero reaches the clearing and scans the scene, one pint-sized kid holding the line against 3 grown thugs. The girl is backed into a corner, barking threats she can't deliver on. She tries to channel mana into a fireball, sparks dancing on her fingertips, but the spell sputters and dies. The goons aren't scared, they're fascinated. You see that? One laughs. That's raw talent right there. They're not looking at a threat. They're looking at a paycheck. A Gaia-speaking magic user. She's an otherworld refugee, and she didn't find the welcome wagon. She stumbled right into a pack of wolves. The leader spreads his arms, flashing a predatory grin. Give it up, sweetheart. Come with us. We'll get you a warm meal. Lim zooms in on the guy's forearm. A tattoo, the red snake, low-life scum, human traffickers. Looks like they're expanding their inventory to interdimensional refugees. Lim checks his tank. Mana is running on fumes. He can't stay invisible forever. He drops the cloak. No cops. No cameras. Is she worth the headache? Lim decides hell yes. Blade in hand, he launches from the darkness. It's over in a heartbeat. He lunges, burying steel in the leader's spine. Before the others can gasp, Lim spins 2 quick slashes across their throats. They hit the dirt. The girl just stares, paralyzed. Lim clears his throat, wiping red off his blade. You're from the Gaia continent, right? He asks in her native tongue. She flinches. You speak the language. Gurgle. Her stomach betrays her. Lim chuckles. Hungry. How does meat sound? A beat later, the adrenaline fades. She whispers a quiet thanks for saving her life. I'll repay you, she vows. Someday. Lim waves it off. How much can you pack away? He offers to treat her to pork top shelf. She tilts her head, confused by the word pork. Lim switches gears. Did you come through the dimensional gate solo? She nods slowly. All alone. Where's home? Where were you before you got here? Lim presses, but the walls go up instantly. She shakes her head. Not talking. Okay. How old are you? Dead air. Lim sighs. Interrogation failed. They sit in the dust. The silence stretching until she finally cracks. Please, help me. I don't know this world, she says, voice shaking. I can't talk to anyone. My mana is dry. I have nowhere to go. I can use fire magic, she offers weakly. Sort of. Lim rubs his temples. Look, kid, I'm busy. I'm not running a daycare. Give me one good reason why I should keep you around. But he looks at her and sighs. 1 month, Lim states. You can crash with me for 1 month. I'll teach you the language, how to survive. But it comes with a price tag. You handle the grunt work, cooking, cleaning, errands, deal. Her face lights up like a beacon. Really, I can't stay. Lim's already regretting this. I'm Lily, she beams. Lily. Lim tests the name on his tongue. It feels heavy, familiar. Why does that ring a bell? He studies her. Fire magic, red hair, the name Lily. The gears in his brain spin, and then click. Cold dread washes over him. The timeline flashes before his eyes. 10 years from now, a monster burns half of Seoul to ash. The Fire Witch. One of the 6 disasters. This isn't just a lost kid. She's a ticking nuke. She looks exactly like the catastrophe that ends the city. In the original timeline, the Syndicate kidnapped a child, tortured her, and forged her into a living weapon. Lim realizes he's standing at a crossroads of fate. If he raises her right, maybe he cancels the apocalypse. Jump cut. They're strolling through a bustling market. Special dinner tonight, Lim announces, steering them toward a butcher shop. Got any predator fillets, he asks. The butcher gives him a weird look. Since the first gate opened, monster meat has been flooding the stalls. It's dirt cheap right now, supplies high, and people are too terrified to eat it. They don't know what Lim knows. This stuff is packed with mana. It's a superfood. In the future, this meat is worth its weight in gold. Right now, it's practically free. Lim loads up the cart. Lily watches him, eyes wide. Now, clothes, Lim says, pointing to a rack. Pick something. Lily doesn't hesitate. She grabs a white and red outfit, clutching it to her chest. This one, she squeals. Lim writes his own rulebook. We cut to Lily sporting a neon bright tracksuit, and Lim cracks a grin apparently. This is perfect camouflage for navigating the slums. After snagging a stack of matching gear, the dynamic duo heads back to base. Lim announces the evening menu, his signature, mana-infused specialty cuisine. Lily eyes the spread with deep suspicion, asking if he seriously expects her to eat that. Lim counters immediately true power food, doesn't need to win a beauty contest. One whiff changes the game, it smells absolutely divine. Lim unveils his hidden ace, a whole chicken he was saving for a rainy day. But tonight, they feast. Lily snatches a drumstick and tears into it like a savage. Her eyes go wide with pure bliss. She screams that this is hands down the greatest thing to ever grace her taste buds. Is this real life? She cries, swearing a solemn blood oath to worship the god of poultry from this day forth. Lim chuckles, warning her to hurry up before he dumps the leftovers into the soup. He samples the broth himself. It is survivable. Barely. Internally, his soul is screaming one more spoonful of this toxic sludge might actually end him. The regret hits like a truck. If he hadn't stormed out of that restaurant, he'd be dining on 5-star delicacies right now. The frustration is absolute agony. My tongue. I can't feel my tongue. Lily moans. Lim silences her. Mealtime is over. He stands up, barking out his orders. Do the dishes. Read a book. Do not disturb me. Lim retreats into his own mind, initiating a deep trance. He activates the grade C of mind. It is a high-tier art that amplifies magical potency and control. A legendary technique he mastered in his previous life. His mana reserves are skyrocketing faster than he ever thought possible. In the past, no amount of grinding produced these results. It has to be the high-grade nutrition. He feels his dantian swelling with raw power. The formula is clear: consume mana-rich food, master the mental arts, and he will inevitably surpass his former prime. But the human body has limits. His stomach roars in violent protest. Lily perks up instantly. Hungry, want more chicken. He turns with a pained smile, back to the wretched soup. Lily shrieks in horror. 2 agonizing days of culinary torture later. Lim assesses his growth. The metrics are terrifyingly good for such a short window of time. At this level, he could easily handle a treasure hunt. Suddenly, his phone buzzes. It is Beck. She sounds hurt, claiming she waited by the phone for his call. Do you even care how I'm doing? She asks. Lim, having completely erased her existence from his memory, smoothly lies that he has just been swamped with business. He pivots straight to business. How is the contract renegotiation? The line goes dead silent. That silence tells him everything he needs to know. She admits defeat. She couldn't sway the guildmaster. The deal is simple. The boss will only hire Lim if he proves he isn't all talk via a practical test. She apologizes profusely, calling the request an insult. Give me a few days, she begs. I'll fix this. I'll do it. Lim cuts in immediately. But I have a condition. Cut to the imposing headquarters of the White House Guild. Lim strolls in with Lily in tow. When Beck questions the +1, Lim improvises. Stepsister. Just got back from overseas. Doesn't speak a word of Korean. He claims she has separation anxiety due to unforeseen circumstances. Meanwhile, Lily is stunned by Beck's beauty and whispers to Lim in their secret tongue. Lim translates, "She's the one giving us money." Lily's logic is simple: money equals chicken. Therefore, this woman is a literal saint. Beck assures him the guild respects privacy. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifts. The guild master of the White House has arrived. Beck Jang-sung. He plays the polite host, apologizing that business kept him from visiting Lim personally. Lim waves it off, calling this a nice field trip. Jang cuts to the chase. "I hear you want to double the contract signing bonus if you pass my test. Are you ready to back that up?" Jang asks. Suddenly, a crushing pressure erupts from the guildmaster, filling the room. "Are you truly worth that price?" Lim analyzes the aura. The man has no formal martial arts or magic training, yet he projects this overwhelming force through raw mana alone. A monster in human skin. Any other awakened would be trembling on their knees right now, silenced by fear. But Lim doesn't flinch. He casually flares his own mana, wrapping himself in a protective sphere. "I'll show you exactly what I'm worth." Jang's eyes widen. The guildmaster spins around, barking orders at Yang Wei. Rewrite it triple the original offer. And add a clause 20 billion won if he passes the test right now. Lim blinks. He asks for double the original 2 billion. This guy's going all in. 6 billion base, plus a 20 billion bonus. Lim smirks. "You've got quite the temper, don't you? Let's do this." We cut to the underground arena. The terms are set: defeat 3 guild members to pass. "This is sparring," Jang warns. "Keep the bloodshed to a minimum." The first challenger steps up, Hwang Jang-hyuk. "Don't let the baby face fool you. He is an elite member of the First Association." Yang Wei asks for his weapon of choice. Lim unstraps his wristwatch. "This will do." The disrespect is palpable. Hwang is furious. Does this rookie think this is a game? The signal is given. Hwang decides he isn't just going to win, he's going to cripple this arrogant upstart. Lim studies him. He recognizes the kid from a magazine. A speedster type, his ability accelerates his velocity the longer he stays in motion. The strategy is simple: put him down before he hits terminal velocity. Suddenly, Hwang blurs, circling Lim at breakneck speed. Lim braces for a frontal assault, but Hwang keeps circling. The crowd whispers defeating an elite speedster is impossible for a newbie. Beck watches, biting her lip. "Game over!" Hwang shouts, launching a high-speed strike at Lim's blind spot, but Lim isn't blind. The moment you attack is the moment you're vulnerable. Crack. Lim smashes the wristwatch directly into the speedster's face. He analyzed the trajectory perfectly. Hwang never stood a chance. Ken's own velocity was his undoing. Lily cheered for the victory, and Yoon Hui stood paralyzed in shock. But Chan stone cold. Not a muscle moved. Not a muscle. "Who's next?" Lim demanded. Chan stepped forward, applauding the rookie's incredible performance. But Lim cut the pleasantries. He just wanted to know if Hwang Jang-hyuk was going to survive the beating. "He'll live," Chan assured him. The medical team was already swarming the body. Ken would be back on his feet after a couple of days of bed rest. Chan commended Lim for keeping his lethal power in check. "Is that what it looked like?" Lim asked, feigning innocence. Inside, however, he knew the truth. If he hadn't pulled that punch, the kid's head would be rolling on the floor. That restraint paid off. Lim ran the mental math. He had already met the requirements. That was a cool $6 billion secured under the current contract, but he wasn't done yet. He locked eyes with the 2 remaining opponents. "So," he called out, "are we going to have some fun until the test is over?" Lily asked about his smirk. Lim's expression hardened instantly. He turned to her, lecturing. "Listen close. In a fight, you don't just win, you maintain absolute dominance over the situation." The scene cuts to the second sparring venue, a training ground buried deep within an artificial forest. Yang Wei broke down the layout. The White House Guild isn't just one block, it's 2 separate associations, each commanding 6 elite teams. Each team holds 5 members. She pointed a finger at their next hurdle, the leader of the First Association's 6th team, a man named Yoon Dae-In. He was the main tank of the White House, known simply as the Buffalo. He claimed he was just looking for a friendly spar, but Lim wasn't buying it. He could smell the genuine killing intent leaking off the guy. Lim announced he was ready. Yundi nodded. The bell rang, and Lim exploded forward, gunning for a blitz strike. But Yundi was a wall. He intercepted the blow instantly with his massive shield. The buffalo slashed out with his sword, but Lim weaved out of the kill zone. Yundi saw the gap. He decided to ditch the defense and go full offensive. But Lim was one step ahead. He slipped behind the giant, executing the Falcon's Claws technique. Yundi was baffled. How the hell had this kid mastered martial arts before his awakening? Yundi swung his blade in a desperate wide arc, but Lim evaded the strike effortlessly. He slammed his back into Yundi's chest, the classic Iron Mountain tackle. Yundi braced for impact, but physics took over. He went flying across the arena. The force was immense, yet Lim frowned. Something felt off. He realized Yundi's durability was no joke. "You're stronger than you look." Yundi grunted, dusting himself off. Lim clicked his tongue. He had planned to keep his true capabilities hidden until the final round. But this old fox was forcing a reveal. Then came the offer. Yundi wanted Lim on his personal team. He thought they would make a powerhouse combination. "Who gets to decide that?" Lim asked. "The winner takes all," Yundi replied, glancing at Chan for confirmation. The guildmaster nodded. Lim accepted the terms with a dangerous condition of his own. "If I beat the buffalo," Lim declared, "I take over as head of the team." The spectators in the VIP box began to murmur. This was turning into a high-stakes gamble. Absolute insanity for a rookie test. Lim laid it out plain. He would form his own squad, recruit his own members, and operate independently on missions. Originally, he planned to climb the ladder slowly after proving his worth. But now, there was no point in waiting. Chan agreed to the terms. However, the guildmaster added, eyes glinting, "If you lose, I keep your signing bonus and the contract duration doubles." Lim didn't hesitate. "Deal." Yundi sneered, asking if the kid was really that confident. Lim cut straight to the bone, asking why Yundi was so obsessed with Yunhui. He knew the truth. The buffalo wanted to kill him out of pure jealousy because Yunhui had shown interest in the rookie. "Do you really think winning here gives you the right to look down on me?" Lim asked. He looked at Yundi and saw the future history. A man destined to become a controversial figure, suffer endless humiliations, and eventually get kicked out of the guild entirely. "At the very least," Lim taunted, "you'll make a decent janitor." That snapped the buffalo's patience. Yundi roared in rage, but Lim just smirked. "Allow me to show you what a true commander looks like." The buffalo finally entered his berserk state, buffalo mode. Rage triggered the activation, surging his mana and sending his physical stats through the roof. The massive tank charged like a freight train. Lim activated the Great Sea of Mind technique, channeling energy into a single lightning fist. As he wound up, he offered one last piece of advice. "You better block this with your shield." Yundi instinctively listened, raising his defense. The fist connected. The shield shattered instantly. Chan and Yunhui watched in stunned silence. The rookie had actually taken down Yundi Hun. Lim collapsed onto the ground, exhaling sharply. "Making money is way too hard," he complained, realizing just how weak his current body still was. He couldn't believe a single lightning fist had drained him this much. He immediately began cycling his mana to recover. He would need every ounce of strength for the next round. As he meditated, Yunhui approached, offering her congratulations. "Hello, leader of Team 7, she teased. Lim smiled. The title had a nice ring to it, but his mind was already back on the contract. Defeating 2 opponents added another billion to his payout. Why stop there? He figured he might as well aim for the full 20 billion. "Who's next?" Lim asked. The guildmaster stepped forward. "That would be me." Chan admitted he never expected Lim to defeat Commander Yundi, smirking. The guildmaster declared he had no choice but to handle the final round personally. For the first time, Lim felt a spike of genuine fear. "Fight this monster. In his current state, I forfeit," Lim announced abruptly. Chan blinked, completely blindsided, demanding to know why the kid was quitting now. Desperate to see Lim's limits, Chan started bidding. 20 billion for just 5 minutes in the ring, he offered. No 3 billion for every 3 minutes you last. But Lim shook his head. "I'm done." Yunhui stepped in, reminding the guildmaster that it was time to finalize the paperwork. The deal was done. Lim signed the contract. "These terms are incredibly generous," Yunhui noted. Lim nodded, expressing his hope for a productive partnership. "So," she asked, "how do you plan to fill your team roster?" "Gradually," Lim replied. "Tell me, Am I allowed to recruit freelancers? She confirmed it was possible but couldn't, so figure out who he had in mind. I know someone, Lim explained, unaffiliated, incredibly talented, and completely free. He turned to Lily. Hey. She looked up, confused. Make the biggest flame you can, Lim ordered. I'm hungry, she whined. Do it, and I'll buy you 3 whole chickens. Her eyes lit up. Promised, she shouted. Sprinting to the center, she conjured a massive fireball, larger than her own body, hovering ominously in the air. Yunhui stared in awe. Is your little sister a monster too? She is, Lim confirmed. That's why she's my first recruit. He pointed at the flame. It wasn't scorching the ground around her. Perfect mana control, he noted. It was terrifying, really, considering he had only been teaching her for a few days in the previous timeline. There was a reason she was known as a walking calamity. Lim opens the negotiation at 3 billion won, but Lily cuts him off cold. She has exactly one priority. Where's the chicken? A mountain of poultry later, Lily is satisfied enough to officially join the 7th White House team, and the final contract settles at a cool 5 billion. The White House isn't just a guild name, it is a fortress, boasting enough staff to maintain colossal training halls, luxury dorms, and high-tech facilities. As they tour the complex, Yunwei watches Lim like a hawk, expecting the rookie to be floored by their state-of-the-art control rooms. But his face remains a stone wall. He is unimpressed. To a time traveler, this gear looks like it belongs in the Stone Age. But he offers a polite nod to keep up appearances. Yunwei beams, pointing out the on-site workshop and promising that whatever specialized gear Lim needs, they can fabricate it within a week. Lim passes on the custom order. He has his own resources for that, but agrees to grab a few standard blades from the armory to tide him over. With the basic gear secured, he figures he has punched his ticket for the day, and Yunwei confirms that once he meets the department head, he is free to go. But fate has other plans. The headman comes sprinting toward them, panic plastered across his face, waving an urgent dispatch from the control room. It is a total crisis. Every other squad is deployed, and the headman awkwardly apologizes, forced to beg the new guy to suit up on day 1. Lim lets out a heavy sigh, kissing his early clock out goodbye, and resigns himself to the grind. Fine, he says. Point me to the fight. Moments later, Lim stands at ground zero. A massive portal hovers 10 meters in the air, vomiting an endless stream of gigantic, grotesque slugs. Grotesque. The scene is absolute chaos. Civilians are trapped in pools of sticky green muck, and while the first wave is down, the danger is far from over. Lim questions the sanity of this mess, only to be handed a headache of an objective capture 3 of these volatile nightmares intact. He suppresses a groan. He knows these creatures from the future wretched, foul-smelling slugs that are physically weak but chemically unstable. They are walking biological landmines that explode on impact, releasing a foul sludge. Lily gags, nearly floored by the stench. Lim immediately seals his olfactory senses with a layer of mana and offers to teach Lily the technique, warning her it usually takes years to master. Before he can finish the sentence, Lily shouts that she is done. She has completely blocked the smell. She is a total prodigy, leaving Lim speechless. He scans the kill zone, realizing why the previous team failed. These monsters are tricky, inject too much mana, and they detonate instantly. Conversely, physical attacks without mana bounce right off them like rubber. Lim sprints into action, spotting a stray slug in a tree. He launches the creature skyward, then executes Tai, using an open palm to spin the slug with such violent velocity that the centrifugal force knocks it cold. 1 sample secured. Lily watches with starry eyes, begging to learn the spinning move. But Lim smirks. Sure, for a tuition fee of 100 billion. She recoils in horror, shouting that she would never pay, that she could buy a mountain of chicken for that kind of cash. Ignoring her outrage, Lim bags the 3 required samples and hands them to the collection team. Job done. He is ready to bounce. Yunwei is stunned by his lethal efficiency and asks if he is nervous about his first run, but Lim brushes it off. This is literally child's play to him. They reach the extraction point, finding that other guilds have mopped up the fodder. Suddenly, a trio of hunters intercepts Lim. The leader, decked out in crimson armor, eyes Lim with deep suspicion. He claims he has never seen this face and asks if the rumor about a new hire is true. He spots the commander's insignia on Lim's chest and sneers, asking if the White House is so desperate they are letting rookies run the show. Then, realization hits him. He recognizes the technique Lim used. It is Jang Sok-hyun from the Black Hound Guild, Lim's former boss from a past life. Lim cuts the chatter and asks what he wants. Sok admits his squad failed to get samples because the slugs kept popping like balloons. He demands Lim hand over his catch. Lim flatly refuses, sending Sok into a rage. How dare a rookie speak to him without honorifics? Tension spikes as the captain of the Warrior Guild steps in, feigning peace while positioning himself to block Lim's escape route. Another figure, the captain from the ruling family guild, joins the blockade, patronizing Lim about camaraderie and the duty to assist his seniors. Yunwei steps up, shouting at Lim not to surrender the loot and threatening to file an official complaint against these playground bullies. Lim ignores her. He knows how this game is played. If he refuses, they will just jump him and take the bag by force. He tosses the sack at their feet, and as they grin in victory, Lim steps forward and casually plants his rear end directly on top of the loot. "Go ahead," he challenges, his voice ice cold. "Come and take it." The guild leaders freeze, unsure how to handle his arrogance. While they hesitate, Lim whispers to Lily, ordering her to torch the perimeter on his signal. She asks excitedly if she can incinerate the people too. "No," Lim corrects her, shutting down the homicide idea to avoid a bureaucratic nightmare. He needs a distraction, not a massacre. Sok screams that he is going to teach the rookie a lesson, but the ground shakes, the portal pulses violently, and a massive boss slug drags itself into reality. The other hunters panic, screaming at Lim to back off so they can steal the glory. Lim just shrugs, grabbing his bag and walking toward the car with Lily. But the battle goes south instantly. The giant slug snatches the hunters with lightning speed, its tentacles impervious to their steel. Yunwei urges Lim to intervene and steal the kill, but Lim stays put on the sidelines. "Relax," he says. "They don't stand a chance." The so-called elites are crumbling. Their armor dissolves under the monster's acid, and Sok screams for the tanks to retreat. Panic sets in as they realize this beast is on a different level. Lily looks at Lim, bored out of her mind. "How long are we going to watch them get crushed?" Lim stood fast while the formation crumbled. Amidst the panic, one figure was already sprinting in the opposite direction. Wang Guohu of the Black Hound Guild. They call him Muddy, fitting for a spineless coward. His squad stood frozen, weapons melted into useless slag by the acid, while that nightmare slithered straight for their throats. Wang scrambled back, shrieking for a lifeline. "Don't leave me," he begged. His teammates roared back. "Use your ability, you moron." Too late. The tentacles had already lashed out, snatching Vaughn. Vaughn screamed as he was hauled into the sky, while Wang whimpered about being powerless. Lim stepped up, eyes like ice. "And you people call yourselves his comrades." One clean motion, Lim severed the tentacle, catching Vaughn and shielding him with his own body. Then he turned his gaze toward the fleeing coward. "That is not how you use your power," Lim said, deadpan. "If you want to see what real strength looks like, find me when the dust settles." Lim signaled his partner, Lily. "Light it up." The girl didn't hesitate. She unleashed hell. The other hunters watched in stunned silence. They couldn't process the sheer scale of the inferno erupting from such a tiny frame. Suddenly, Yang Wei's voice crackled over the comms, screaming at Lim. "Cut the grandstanding and look at the situation. Support is 5 minutes out," she yelled. "Just wait for backup." Lim did the math. 5 minutes, plenty of time to kill the beast and secure the loot for himself. He made the call right then. The prize was his. "The fire is blinding the drone feeds," Yang Wei complained, panic rising in her voice. "Clear the fire, forget the loot. Lim, it's too dangerous." But Lim stood rock steady in the heart of the inferno. "Relax," he replied coolly. "I'll drop this thing and come back without a scratch." He knew exactly what he was facing. A brutal class of monster, buried deep in the restricted archives. But Lim had a playbook for every emergency. Fire was its kryptonite. The heat was already slowing the beast down. Lim charged. "Cover me, Lily." The tentacles were regenerating fast. He needed sustained damage. Lim darted around the Colossus, drawing aggro before signaling the girl. Whoosh. Lily bathed the regenerating limbs in fresh napalm. "Perfect," Lim shouted. "Keep the pressure on, sever them all." Just as the textbooks predicted, once the tentacles were gone, the monster retreated into its indestructible shell to heal, sealing the passage. Lily jogged up to his side. "It turtled up," she said nervously. "Now what?" Lim smirked. Now we use the gear we salvaged from the car. That shell was fortress-grade armor. Blunt force was useless. He needed precision. Lim grabbed a heavy metal stake and drove it into a hairline fracture on the carapace. Clang. He hammered the steel home. The onlookers watched in confusion. Why was the hero doing construction work in the middle of a boss fight? Meanwhile, Wang Guohu watched from the sidelines. Lim's lecture about ability usage echoed in his mind. Vaughn watched too, wondering if Lim was truly the real deal. Lim drove stake after stake into the shell. Final stage, he muttered. Conductors are in place. Now, aim for the center. Time to unleash the strongest strike in his arsenal. Great sea of mind technique. Lim's fist became a blur of lightning. Crack. Electricity surged from his fist, arcing between the metal stakes. The monster was cooked inside its own armor, the shell shattering from the shockwave. But the backlash hit Lim hard. Lim collapsed, groaning as residual current fried his nerves. He realized too late using that technique twice in his weakened state was a massive gamble. His body was shutting down. Lim, Lily cried, rushing to his side. Are you okay? Did you just electrocute yourself? I thought... We got it, Lim wheezed. Can I drop the firewall? Lily asked. No. Lim stopped her. Hold it a little longer. We did the work. We keep the prize. He insisted. That monster meat is incredibly soft and rich in mana nutrients. We are not sharing. They frantically stuffed the prime cuts into their bags. Lily was dreaming of snail nuggets, but Lim corrected her. This is for a premium mana ragu. Finally, the bags were stuffed. That's enough, Lim said. Suddenly, his earpiece buzzed. Bang Woo Hyuk, captain of the second team. We received the distress call. We're inbound to assist. The captain announced. Wait, Lim shouted. Don't come in until I drop the fire. Lim scrambled. He hadn't secured the most important loot drop yet. Is it just the two of you against a slug class? Ben asked, concerned. I heard it's your first day. Rookie. Don't overdo it. Lim quickly stashed the last item. Okay, Lily, he whispered. Drop the wall. The flames vanished, revealing the carnage to the arriving squad. Their jaws hit the floor. Did the commander take it out? One soldier asked. Nope. Lim dusted off his hands. Fought for my life. Got lucky. But Siak looked skeptical. He couldn't fathom how a rookie achieved what an entire squad couldn't. Can I leave the cleanup to you, Commander? Lim asked casually. Ben nodded, stunned. Go home, son. If you're hurt, report to headquarters for treatment, Ben added. Lim froze. He remembered Yang Wei's terrifying threat about what would happen if he got injured. Actually, Lim said quickly, I think I'll just go rest. Darkness fell over the city. I'm sleepy. Lily yawned, rubbing her stomach. You did good today, kid. Lim smiled. He set down a massive feast. Lily's eyes went wide. Real meat. I'm not dreaming, she cheered. Let's go snail hunting every single day. Lim cracked a cold beer, took a long swig, and let out a satisfied curse. Damn, this is worth living for. Lily watched him closely. A second later, a high-pitched voice echoed him. Damn! Lim choked on his drink. He realized he needed to watch his mouth around the kid. Hey, that is a bad word, he scolded. No using that. Lily tilted her head innocently. Why? Why do you say bad words when you eat chicken? She asked. Lim sighed, defeated. Fast forward to the next morning. The great sea of mind technique was taking its toll. Lim felt like death. Never again, he groaned. That move is for emergencies only. Lim knows the cardinal rule: never mix a hangover with business. He peels his eyes open to a nightmare, a screen lighting up with missed calls from manager Yoon-hee. He barely swipes accept before her voice nearly blows out his eardrum. She is tearing into him for going off the grid, but Lim pulls the ultimate sympathy card. He lets out a pained groan, claiming his muscles are screaming in absolute agony from the last battle. It is a total lie. He is just wrecked from the booze, but he sells it perfectly. In a heartbeat, Yoon-hee flips from rage to guilt, apologizing profusely for disturbing the wounded warrior. Lim sighs, playing up the injury, and asks what is so urgent. Turns out, she's aggressively building his private strike team and needs him to sign off on the roster immediately. Lim rattles off the essentials: field support, combat medics, a comm specialist, and the unsung MVP secretaries to conquer the mountain of paperwork. He knows these support roles are the lifeblood of any guild operation. However, he tells Yoon-hee to trust her instincts and pick whoever she likes. "You have impeccable taste," he says with a smooth grin. "I mean, you were smart enough to hire me, right?" She laughs at the line, and just like that, the tension evaporates. Yoon-hee agrees to touch base after lunch, before they disconnect. Lim drops one specific demand. He wants Wang Guho from the Blackhound Guild on his squad. He tells her to make it happen, then dials the top dog. Guildmaster Jang picks up and wastes no time ordering Lim to take a mandatory 3-day vacation. Lim tries to argue he is just a little tired, but Jang is not hearing it. Yoon-hee already spilled the beans on his condition. The master lays down the law, no ops until the full team is assembled. Weighing his options, Lim decides a few days of downtime will not kill him. Jang tells him to actually chill out for once and stop carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. The master calls him the future of the guild and suggests a sparring match once he is healed. Lim conveniently pretends the signal is breaking up and pivots to his assistant. He tells the chief he is signing off. Suddenly, Lily bursts in, eyes sparkling with hope, asking if they are getting fried chicken. Lim smirks. He has cooked up something way better. He unveils a bubbling pot. This isn't just food, it is high-octane fuel. Premium ingredients, silky texture, and the secret weapon, the heart of a mana snail. He dubs it the Warrior's Vitality Soup. The liquid is a horrifying shade of purple, but he swears it is a health bomb. Lily stares at the bowl in pure terror. Suddenly, Lily claims she's actually still stuffed from yesterday's chicken. Lim feigns disappointment and starts slurping down the sludge, raving about the rich flavor. Seeing him chow down with such gusto makes her curious. Is it actually that good? Lim offers to make the ultimate sacrifice and eat her share too, instantly triggering her fear of missing out. He reminds her she passed on it, but she grabs a spoon anyway. One bite, and her soul leaves her body. She realizes she was a lot happier yesterday. Lim tells her to quit the drama and absorb the nutrition. Lily declares she has lost all trust in him. To stop the whining, Lim promises premium fried pork belly for dinner. Her ears perk up. What kind? Lim tells her it is the top tier stuff, costing way more than standard chicken. It is a flavor worth dying for. He wonders when she became such a food critic. He lectures her that to truly appreciate the gourmet life, she needs to balance her diet with his healthy swamp soup first. Vacation time is over in a flash. Lim announces a treasure hunt. The monsters surviving the first gate break have carved out territories nearby. One group, the orcs, has built a massive tribe. They are sitting on a dimensional relic, and our heroes are currently prowling the edge of their domain. Lim scans the zone with binoculars. There it is, the prize. The relic is stashed inside a stone statue right in the center of the camp. In the original timeline, an expedition team swept in and claimed it, but this time, Lim plans to snatch it before history repeats itself. He runs the numbers, at least 200 orcs. Even with his body boosted by the central crystal, a frontal assault is straight up suicide. It is too hot for a solo brawl. Lim lays out the play. He infiltrates the perimeter while Lily waits for his command to light up a distraction. Lily asks for the cue. Lim points to a torch on the far side. When that light dies, he says, you torch the entrance. He warns her sternly, lose focus and miss the signal, and the relic is gone forever. Lim triggers his concealment skill and melts into the shadows. Lily cloaks herself too. Lim knows that unless a boss-level entity shows up, standard mobs will not stand a chance of detecting him. He creeps closer. 10 orcs guarding the statue. Easy work. Lim draws his knife, ready to drop them quietly. Then he freezes. He spots the chieftain, a mutant orc. This is the monster that single-handedly decimated the future expedition team. Lim knows he cannot take that thing yet. He sticks to the stealth play. Lim picks up a rock and hurls it with surgical precision. It smacks the torch, knocking it down. Darkness falls. Lily sees the signal. The chieftain barks orders. Confused by the sudden blackout, Lim grins. Chaos is his playground. He prepares to sprint for the statue while they are scrambling. But then, the impossible happens. A massive shadow looms over him. An orc is standing right there, staring him dead in the eyes. Lim is stunned. The beast smelled him through the concealment. He underestimated the heightened senses of a mutant strain. His cover is blown wide open. Lim ditches the relic and bolts. He sprints past the flames and confused orcs, realizing stealth is dead. He cuts the skill to save mana. As he tears through the forest, Lily asks over comms if he was spotted. Lim screams for her to run. The orc horde roars in the distance behind them. They finally skid to a halt near some ancient ruins, lungs burning. Lim calculates they did not go far, but the adrenaline dump has wiped them out. Lily stares at the ruins, saying she knows this place. Lim asks if she is sure. Lily points to a cave entrance. That is where she emerged when she first crossed the gate. That is where the strange men tried to grab her. Lim realizes she is talking about the kidnappers. She calls them uncles. But Lim knows exactly who they are, the Red Snake Guild. He puts the pieces together. This cave is a Red Snake hideout. He never guessed a criminal syndicate would set up shop right next to an orc tribe. Ooh. Lim pats Lily on the head, praising her sharp memory. This is a golden ticket. If he plays this right, he can pit the villains against the monsters. He gestures to the cave. Lily hesitates, terrified of going back in. Lim nods, understanding. He points to a thick bush hide there, so stay silent. If it hits the fan, call him instantly. Lim steps into the darkness alone. He reactivates, concealment. He knows the Red Snake is not some petty gang. He is walking straight into the lion's den. The heavy guard presence outside was the dead giveaway. This was the stronghold. But Lim had to ask himself why build a nest right next to an orc settlement slipping past the perimeter. He spotted figures moving in hazmat suits. They were deep in their refining process, obscuring the hero's view. Then the mist cleared. Masked men were shoveling mounds of fine white powder. Lim froze. He recognized that dust instantly. Snake. A botanical nightmare brewed from dimensional flora years ago. It had swept through the cities like a plague, driving addicts into a violent, frothing madness before their hearts exploded. The police had chased ghosts for years, never finding the source. Who would have guessed they were cooking the stuff inside a monster's dungeon deeper in? A warden screamed at the lab coats to hustle. Make the quota by tomorrow or you're all dead, he barked. Lim scanned the room. Roughly 100 armed soldiers from the Red Serpent clan, flanked by 30 chemists cooking the product. By Lim's estimate, there were at least 50 kilograms of pure snake sitting on those tables. The street value was impossible to calculate, but it was easily worth a few trillion won. The supervisor continued his tirade, mentioning that demand had skyrocketed, putting a stranglehold on their supply chain. We lost a worker yesterday and production tanked, the man spat. Pick up the slack. Lim listened as the thug apologized to a superior, claiming they were literally working the staff to death. Literally. Lim felt a wave of disgust. These weren't people. They were parasites fattening themselves on human misery. It was time to pull the plug. Suddenly, the cavern plunged into total darkness. Chaos erupted. What's happening? I can't see a damn thing. Get the backup lights. Now, the gangsters panicked, firing blind questions into the void. Then a terrified scream pierced the confusion. The snake, it's gone. While they scrambled like rats, Lim ghosted through the shadows, the stolen crate tucked under his arm, completely invisible to their eyes. But he wasn't being careless. He was leaving a breadcrumb trail. Bursting out of the cave, he found Lily waiting. All done, she chirped. Lim smirked. Oh no, the party's just getting started. We're playing tag, Lim explained, tightening his grip on the box. A swarm of very angry bad guys is about to come out here. Whatever you do, don't let them catch you. Sounds like a game, Lily giggled, reaching for the box. Not a toy, Lim warned, shoving her toward a bush. Stay down and stay quiet. Just then, the mob burst into the sunlight. There he is, the hunter, one shouted. Lim glanced back at Lily's hiding spot one last time to ensure she was safe, then hefted the heavy crate. Kill him. Bullets chewed up the dirt around Lim's heels. He sprinted, deliberately drawing their fire. It was perfect. They were so focused on the chase. They didn't realize where he was leading them. Lim slammed to a halt right in front of the orc encampment. Remember me, he grinned. The orc chieftain roared, alerting the tribe. The red serpent thugs skidded to a stop, realizing their mistake too late. "Lily, get clear," Lim commanded. With a massive heave, he launched the crate of drugs high into the air. "He's lost his mind," a gangster screamed. The orcs looked up, confused by the projectile whistling toward them. The box smashed open at their feet, scattering the precious powder into the dirt. The gang members froze, weighing their options. "Plan B," the leader shouted. "Slaughter the monsters, recover the snake, then skin the intruder." As the firefight ignited, Lim triggered his concealment skill and vanished into thin air. The canyon echoed with the roar of gunfire. The red serpent members unleashed a wall of lead, keeping the beast at bay. Standard orcs fell in droves, unable to close the distance. But one monster didn't stop. A mutant orc, massive and gray-skinned, walked through the barrage, bullets flattening harmlessly against its hide. The gangsters' eyes went wide with terror. "Focus fire on the big gray one," they screamed. It was useless. The mutant closed the gap and crushed a mercenary's head like a ripe melon, high above on a ridge. Lim and Lily watched the carnage. "Is it over yet?" Lily asked. "Bored. I'm hungry." Lim put a finger to his lips. "Patience. Let them thin the herd." "You can't rush a good show," he whispered, eyes scanning the battlefield. He calculated the odds. "Should I wipe up the survivors now? No, wait a little longer." The mutant orc was a wrecking ball, slaughtering the last of the strike team. It raised a blood-soaked weapon to the sky, roaring in victory until its head suddenly separated from its shoulders. Lim flicked the blood from his blade. "Good work cleaning up the trash," he said to the headless corpse. The massive body hit the ground with a heavy thud. The remaining orcs froze. Their leader was dead. Lim knew the pack mentality well. Without the alpha, they were just frightened animals. They would likely scatter or follow whoever killed their chief. Lim ignored them and walked straight to the tribal totem. He raised his hammer and smashed the stone statue to dust. There, amidst the rubble, was the prize. The keeper's bracelet. An artifact that healed the wearer, boosted recovery, and could consume mana to trigger a defensive barrier. The effects doubled if worn as a pair. As Lim slipped it on, the metal shrank to fit his wrist perfectly, and a surge of fresh mana flooded his exhausted reserves. "Shiny," Lily gasped, eyeing the jewelry. "Is that treasure the best kind?" Lim nodded, motioning for her. "Give me your arm." He clasped the second bracelet onto her wrist. Lily blinked, surprised. "Why me?" "It has a shield spell," Lim explained pragmatically. "Plus, it hides you from lower-level detection." Lily's cheeks turned pink. "Look," she whispered. "We have matching bracelets." Lim rolled his eyes. "Don't read into it. Just keep it on." Sentiment aside, Lim knew she was fragile. The bracelet also acted as a tracker. If she ever got lost or taken, he would find her instantly. Lim sacked up the loot, including the mutant's high-grade material for armor. "We'll eat soon," he promised, seeing her look. "But I have to head back to the cave." "Why go back to that smelly place?" she complained. "Loose ends," Lim replied ominously. "I'll explain later." He pointed to the orc village. "Burn it. Burn everything to ash. Then we get food," she negotiated. "If you do a good job, I'll buy you a feast." Her eyes lit up. Lily unleashed hell. "Time to cook," she cackled, throwing torrents of fire onto the huts. Lim watched the destruction, noting that keeping her fed was definitely a matter of national safety. Back inside the drug lab, the few surviving guards opened fire the moment Lim appeared. Bullets ricocheted off a shimmering barrier. Lim tapped his wrist. "See, the shield works." He glanced at Lily. "Feel free to handle this however you want." "Okay," Lily grinned. "Shield bash." She projected the barrier forward like a battering ram, smashing the gunman into the wall. "Talented kid," Lim muttered, impressed. The last gangster crawled on the floor, begging. "Please, I'll tell you everything, the Red Serpent hierarchy, our contacts." "Boring," Lim cut him off. "Just tell me where the safe is." We cut to an hour later. The heroes walking away as the cave collapses in a fiery explosion. Not a bad haul, Lim thought, patting the bag of cash and artifacts. He looked at the inferno behind them. "All right, little pyromaniac, are you done blowing things up for today?" With the barrier down, Lily stated the obvious, they needed to scatter. Lim shut that down instantly. Run to where there was no exit on this map. About 35 Red Snake thugs and chemists were still standing. Lim crunched the numbers. He wasn't going to execute them, but he sure as hell wasn't letting them walk away scot-free. They helped bake the serpent, so they had to pay. Lim locked eyes with one goon, christened him Red Bean Rice Cake on the spot, and snapped a command, "With me." The idiot made the mistake of asking why he was named after a snack. Smack. Lim's hand connected with his face, silencing the protest. He roared that the red snakes were soft, mushy, and spineless, just like sticky rice cakes. Lim ordered Lily to haul the newly minted rice cake back to their camp. The rest force marched to the security outpost to turn themselves in. Naturally, the begging and pleading started immediately. "Zip it," Lim barked. Did they actually think running a drug lab was legal? If they were confused, he offered a free lesson in reality delivered via his fists. Silence fell instantly. The red snakes agreed to surrender without another peep. When the guards finally rolled up, their jaws hit the floor. A massive snake processing plant hiding in plain sight within the restricted zone? Unbelievable. Lim knew the drill. The cops would haul the trash away. They definitely sing like canaries about Lim and Lily, but who trusts the word of a junkie? Lim ignored the risk. His real target was securing a lifeline to Kim Soo-ho. Locking down an alliance with him in this timeline wasn't optional. It was survival. Shifting focus. Lim glanced at Lily. She'd earned her keep today. Time for a reward, something actually edible. Back at base, Lily was already throwing a full-blown tantrum, pounding the ground and screaming about starvation. Poor Red Bean Rice Cake just stood there, completely baffled by the lunacy. She wasn't stopping. Moments later, the rage turned to betrayal. Lim had promised a feast that rivaled fried chicken, and she was waiting to be impressed. Lim insisted it was gourmet. Lily argued it smelled like a dumpster fire. Ignoring her whining, Lim tossed the raw ingredients to Red Bean Rice Cake. The thug didn't hesitate. "I got this." He whipped up 2 perfectly seared pork cuts, fried garlic, and seasonal green olives, swaddled in fresh sesame leaves. The ultimate lettuce wrap, built for a single, glorious bite. Lily took one chomp and practically ascended pure heaven. She shoveled it in so fast, scraps were tumbling from her lips. "Swallow before you speak," Lim scolded. Lily didn't care. She swore the flavor multiplied the longer she chewed. Just like that. 4 days of bliss evaporated. Time to clock back in. Flush with cash from the guild contract, Lim bought the plot of land right next to his tent. The seller warned him the price was low for a reason, asking if he really needed 10,000 pyong. Lim just shrugged. You never know when you'll need space to expand. Kidnapping Red Bean Rice Cake turned out to be a stroke of brilliance. The guy was already raising a log cabin, fully accepting his sentence 3 years of construction, cooking, and cleaning. He actually took pride in the work. In his twisted view, Lim had handed him a second shot at life, earning his keep with honest sweat instead of crime. Lim told him to keep that energy up for the full term. Lily, meanwhile, was totally smitten, mostly because the man was a culinary wizard. There was a catch, obviously. Lim had hit specific pressure points on Rice Cake's body. As long as his martial arts were sealed, running away was physically impossible. He couldn't break the seal himself. Lim's deal was cold, but fair exploit him for free labor for 3 years, then hand him a severance check and cut him loose. Cut to the White House Guild HQ. Yang Wei announced she was stepping in as the temporary handler for Team 7. Since Lim was a rookie, she claimed he needed a veteran babysitter. Lim eyed her sideways. Was this actually temporary? Or was she planning a bait and switch? Please, she scoffed. I'm a busy woman. She dropped the bomb. His official assignment kicked off tomorrow morning. His only job today was to memorize every syllable in the dossier. Lim sighed, instantly regretting not milking his vacation days a little harder. He scanned the brief, a gate destruction mission. Lim tapped the paper, pointing out the clause in his contract that explicitly forbade long-term deployments. Yang Wei shut him down. The request came straight from the government 48 hours ago, and no wasn't an option. With 4 major guilds on the roster, the feds estimated a 3-day cleanup, tops. Lim's team was the only one with a gap in their schedule. But Lim knew better than to trust government arithmetic. Monster gates came in 2 flavors. Type A, monsters swarm out. You kill them, gate closes. Easy. Then there was Type B. These nightmares didn't vanish just because the monsters left the building. Sometimes, nothing came out at all. To kill a Type B, you had to invade, slaughter the residents, and shatter the core. Lim froze. He knew these coordinates. It was one of the most catastrophic gates since the first one opened the labyrinth of fallen spirits. Before his regression, this place was the stuff of legends. Back when he was an instructor, he used this dungeon as a horror story for students. If he'd tried this mission in his past life, he would have been dead meat. Yang Wei mentioned some bad blood with one of the other participating guilds. She offered to pass the buck, but Lim refused. Team 7 takes the job. She warned him to keep his temper in check. Lim smirked, asking if she really thought he was the type to throw a tantrum in the field. You're absolutely capable of that. She deadpanned. Later, en route to the site, Lim's mind raced. To clear this hellhole, he needed a tank, a damn good one. Recruiting Wang Guoho was dragging on thanks to messy termination fees. Lim realized he'd have to personally step in to close the deal. The car rolled to a stop. The driver hopped out and bowed deeply, asking Lim to stay safe in there. Lim told him to cut the formalities. He was just thankful for the lift. The driver smiled, appreciating the rare decency from a hunter. Yang Wei teased that he looked cool back there. Internally, Lim cringed. He hated being around honest, kind people. He was much more comfortable dealing with aggressive, rude assholes. You know, like the jerks from the Black Hound Guild he worked with in his previous life. And speak of the devil, Kim Hyun-tae from Black Hound was waiting for them. He introduced his squad. There was Wang Guoho, standing alongside their team captain, Jang Seok-hyun. Lim offered a polite nod and a handshake. Kim grinned, his eyes gleaming with malice. I've heard a lot about you, Lim. The heroes are settled at the negotiation table, but the air is already thick with tension. Kim kicks things off, questioning their resolve to reclaim Wang. He insists the man is a blue-chip asset, indispensable to the cause. Meet Kim Hyun-tae, the guildmaster's younger cousin and the relentless cleaner for the organization's filth. Lim reads the play instantly. Kim isn't here to talk. He's here to drop a bomb. Listing impossible demands just to avoid a single contract. Yumi attempts to play peacemaker, offering a polite nod to the Black Hound Guild's perspective on the matter. Jumi starts to lay out the $5 billion buyout, but Kim shuts her down with a sharp gesture. He shakes his head, a wicked glint in his eye. The price tag has changed. Feigning shock that they're out of the loop, he smirks. Mr. Wang Guoho signed a renewal this very morning. He leans in. Under the fresh ink, the termination fee is now $10 billion. Yunwei freezes, speech lost to shock. Kim presses on, claiming they can take Mr. Wang right now if they pay up. But Lim isn't buying it. This isn't business. It's a deliberate provocation designed to spark a war. Lim clocks the setup. Hidden lenses are undoubtedly rolling, hungry for a violent reaction. He rises abruptly, cutting the tension. Yunwei, we're leaving. Now. He knows the guildmaster's daughter is being played like a fiddle. Kim lets out a cruel sneer, mocking their retreat. He pivots his gaze to Lim, and pours salt in the wound. He laughs that he thought Lim was desperate for Wang, but clearly, the desire wasn't that strong. Kim waves a dismissive hand, telling them to call if they ever find their spines. Then, he drops the hammer. His eyes slide to the little girl. She seemed to enjoy the cake. He sneers with venomous delight. Better rush her to the ER. That treat expired ages ago. That is the breaking point. Lim roars, launching himself across the mahogany table to deliver a thunderous slap that nearly decapitates Kim Seok. Screams in panic, asking if he's insane, but the room has already descended into chaos. While Seok trembles, Lim is pure fury. He kicks Kim out of the room just as the security detail swarms in, blades drawn and ready for blood. But Lim doesn't flinch. He holds his ground, voice dripping with ice. You want to dance? He challenges. Ask yourselves, are you stronger than Jang Seok-hyun? He's done playing nice. He demands the guild leader's presence this instant. Internally, a dark plan forms if they want a villain. He'll show them exactly what a monster looks like. Yunwei whispers a plea for restraint, though a flicker of satisfaction betrays her stoic mask. Lim catches it, asking if he's seeing things or if she's actually smiling. Suddenly, Lily pipes up, confused why Lim pummeled the cake givers. Lim turns soft, reassuring her instantly. Listen, he says gently. Never eat food from strangers again. He promises that from now on, rice cake is the only one authorized to handle her menu. He figures the expired cake was a bluff to trigger him since Lily looks fine. But the damage is done. He turns his attention to the trembling Wang Guoho. He whispers that a chat is imminent, nearly giving Wang a heart attack. Suddenly, the atmosphere crushes down. Lim stiffens. The suffocating bloodlust signals only one thing: the boss is here. Enter the Demon King, Kim Tae-jin, one of the legendary First Awakened. Jin pierces them with a glare, asking if they were the ones clamoring for his attention. He demands an explanation. Lim scoffs internally. The man plays dumb well, despite undoubtedly watching every frame of the violence on his monitors. Lim owns it. We called you, he admits, requesting the room be cleared for a private audience. Jin nods, claiming to respect a man who faces the consequences head-on, and agrees to the terms. Lim instructs Lily to stick to Yunwei like glue and wait for him back at headquarters. Lily looks up with wide, innocent eyes. Can I burn this place to the ground? Lim panics. Absolutely not. No arson. You unleash fire without my say-so. And I'm banning fried chicken for life. Once the room empties, the air grows cold. Lim cuts the act and asks Jin exactly what he's after. Jin appreciates the sharp intellect. He skips the pleasantries. He wants Lim on his payroll. Are you asking me to join the Black Hound Guild? Lim asks. Jin shakes his head. An official transfer would trigger an astronomical termination fee. No. He doesn't want Lim to leave his current post. He proposes a darker arrangement. Lim stays with the White House Guild, but operates as a mole, feeding critical intel directly to Jin. Corporate espionage, Lim clarifies. Jin nods, promising wealth beyond measure, gesturing for Lim to review the contract. Ideally, the offer is irresistible. And if I say no, Lim asks calmly. Jin's face drops into a shadow. Then you pay the bill for the chaos you caused today. Jin leans in with a gruesome promise. Push me, and you might leave here a few limbs lighter. Meanwhile, outside the gates, Chan is screaming his lungs out, demanding Lim's release. Chan stands armed and dangerous, shouting that if Jin doesn't produce Lim in 10 seconds, he's breaching the perimeter by force. As Chan counts down, Lim materializes behind him, tapping his shoulder. What's the commotion? Chan nearly jumps out of his skin, stammering that Yunwei swore he was cornered. Lim flashes a serene smile. I offered them my sincere apologies, and they accepted. He jokes that his overwhelming sincerity must have won them over. Flashback to the lion's den. Just as Jin issued his threat, Lim had raised a hand. He brought up a sensitive topic, Jin's relationship with his sister-in-law. Imagine the fallout, Lim mused. If the true nature of your bond with your brother's wife hit the headlines, he bluffed that he could dig deeper. Jin exploded, demanding his source. Lim simply smiled, noting that if silence was the goal, Jin needed to hear the counteroffer. Lim laid his cards down first. Wang Guoho walks free. No fees. No strings. Second, the price for his silence was scribbled on a slip of paper he slid across the desk. It detailed a sordid affair from decades past, Kim Tae-jin and his sister-in-law. Discovery led to tragedy, a double suicide by the brother and the wife. The ensuing scandal and shock were the real reasons Jin retired from active duty. Lim knew Jin would burn the world to keep that secret buried. Back in the present, Chan looks skeptical at Lim's sincerity story. He argues that Jin is a cunning fox who gives nothing for free. He presses Lim, did he have to brawl his way to the exit? Lim swears violence wasn't the key. Yunwei steps in to scold Chan, telling him to stop asking questions and just be thankful everyone is breathing. Noticing Lily's unusual silence, Lim gently pats her head. You okay? Did I scare you back there? I promise. We resolved it peacefully. Lily looks up, deadpan. I'm hungry. Yunwei laughs, figuring the hostile environment just triggered a bout of stress eating. So, fried chicken for dinner. Lim tossed the question to Lily, casually shattering the silence. It sounded simple, but the subtext was screaming if the guild actually gave a damn about them, a rescue mission wouldn't have been necessary in the first place. Every second that ticked by made the contract with White House look more like a genius tactical play. Wang Guho shuffled toward Lim, head hanging low, stumbling through a clumsy apology for the disaster he caused yesterday. The headmaster? He practically got on his knees begging me to renew. Wang stammered, desperate to explain. Lim cut him dead with a sharp chopping motion. Sit down. That garbage is in the past. Lim's gaze went cold. Starting now, you are this team's main tank. You address me as commander. Lim didn't need a resume. He knew the file by heart. Wang Guho system orphan. Loner. Damaged goods. A lifetime of isolation had turned Wang inward, making him a pariah at the Black Hound Guild. They treated him like debris. In the original timeline, when the apocalypse really kicked off, Wang was just cannon fodder, one of the first to die. Wang looked like he'd been slapped. Commander, are you insane? I have 0 talent as a tank? Lim didn't even blink. I don't need talent, Wang. I need you. You don't get it, Wang pleaded, desperate to list his own failures. My specialty is just freezer, Lim snapped, shutting him up instantly. I know exactly what you are. Lim had the ultimate cheat code future knowledge. He knew about GM Minchul, the moving fortress, a legendary hero who would dominate the world stage in 10 years. Minchul's power, petrification, exactly like Wang. Lim remembered Minchul's rookie days, the stone skin, the defense. But looking at the massive guy in front of him now, Lim saw the truth. Wang's raw physical stats were leagues above the future legend. The inspection confirmed it. Wang wasn't just a budget version. His potential for petrification was superior to the original. Listen closely, Lim said. Give me 6 months, and you'll be the #1 tank in Seoul. Wang's jaw hit the floor. That's physically impossible. Lim smirked. You call it lack of talent? I call it a winning lottery ticket you're too afraid to cash. Tears welled up in the big man's eyes, his worldview cracking. Suddenly, Rice Cake burst into the room. Prep complete. Perfect timing. Lim's voice dropped an octave. Bring it in. A bowl slammed onto the table. Inside, a thick, toxic sludge of monster organs and raw core essence. 3 bowls, each. Lim's tone brooked no refusal. We hit the labyrinth of fallen spirits in 4 days. Drink. Flash forward 48 hours. The hunting ground. Lim is a blur of motion, locked in a dance of death with a massive white lion beast. His movements calculated violence. Wang. Lim roars over the monster's guttural growls. You're a tank. Act like it. Quit flinching. He points a blade at the beast. Get in its face. Lock it down now. Wang is running on 3 bowls of monarch soup and pure adrenaline. His petrification isn't stable yet, but fear is a powerful motivator. He lunges, grappling the beast, screaming as agony rips through his nerves. Hold it, Lim screams. 1 minute you let go, and your dinner is 6 bowls of that sludge. Forget inspiring speeches. The threat of that soup is the ultimate weapon. The memory of that vile taste terrifies Wang more than the monster's teeth. He grinds his teeth, forcing his body past its breaking point. Petrification logic is brutal the more you break the user. The harder they reform. Lim is forging Wang like steel in a blast furnace. Satisfied, Lim pivots to Lily. You're up. No way. Lily crosses her arms, throwing a tantrum. I'm sick of this garbage food every day. And where's my chicken? Tonight, Lim promises smoothly. Fried chicken, infinite refill. That's the trigger. Lily's eyes practically catch fire. She screams at Wang. Move your ass. Big guy, you're blocking my shot. She opens her mouth and unleashes hell. A torrent of flame engulfs the white lion, incinerating it instantly. Wang watches from the dirt, eyes wide. 1 hit. She ended it in 1 hit. Why do you call him Haegu? Lim asks, as the ash settles. Lily shrugs. You started it, didn't you? Lim ignores the banter, tapping his comms. Status. Give me targets. He already knows the answer. 8 white tigers exited the gate 20 minutes ago. They need 1 more confirmed to secure the samples. 1 active ping. Yunwei's voice crackles in his ear. Moving fast, 7 hours out. But Lim, we have a problem. The warrior guild is intercepting. Give me the spread, Lim barks. Distance. Heroes are 2 clicks out. Yunwei replies. Warrior guild is 1 click away. I'm taking point, Lim says, mana flaring around him like an aura. Catch up when you can, Lily. Watch Hagu. He doesn't wait for a nod. He vanishes, tearing across the landscape. The mana-rich diet and the torture training are paying dividends. He isn't at his pre-rebirth peak, but he's fast. Fast enough to turn the scenery into a smear of color. He blasts past a warrior guild scout. Hey, that white tiger is tagged, the scout yells, stunned. The rival squad is already chanting, prepping a bombardment spell. Lim's eyes narrow. If they tag it first, the loot rights become a bureaucratic nightmare. Not happening. Skill activation shadow body technique, crescent moon. He launches skyward, descending like a guillotine blade. One precise strike severs the monster's life force. The warrior guild mages stand there, spells dying on their lips, paralyzed by the sheer speed. Target down, hunt concluded. Lim reports, voice flat. The dispatcher hesitates, but the GPS says you just arrived. Irrelevant, Lim replies. Scan for leftovers. There was a stray in the southern sector. The dispatcher's voice trembles. But your team already cleared it. Lily's voice chirps over the channel. Did I crisp it enough? Hey, Lim, does this count as double chicken? Lim sighs. Only if you didn't incinerate the sample. All hostiles eliminated. The dispatcher announces. Gate collapsed. Area stable. Lim nods. Good work. Let's pack it up. Back at the rendezvous, Lim faces Team 7. Solid work today. A man in scrubs approaches, lugging a heavy medical case. Injuries. Commander, the man asks. I'm good, Lim says. Check Lily's arm. She needs a patch-up. Enter Chin-Il, head of the medical support unit. Trailing him is Chin-Nam on the camera and Chin-Sala, the tech genius. Yunwei pulled a miracle to sign the famous Chin triplets for the 7th team. Each one is a specialist. How Yunwei snagged them is a mystery, but Lim isn't complaining. We're new to each other, Lim addresses the staff, so I'll skip the long speeches. I know working with superhumans is usually a nightmare, Lim says, voice sincere. Stick with us for this dungeon run. I promise the bonuses will be fat, and you get extra vacation. I'm counting on you. Lim finishes with a respectful bow. The triplets exchange glances, pleasantly shocked. A superhuman boss who treats staff like people. He's actually awesome, one whispers, ensuring the camera catches it. Lim knows the game survived the labyrinth, and the guild will have no choice but to drown them in rewards. Survival means walking through hell, of course, but he keeps that fine print to himself. You're trending, sir, the driver notes as they load up. I know how the other half lives, Lim replies, staring out at the passing city. In his past life, he was the one taking orders, swallowing pride, eating dirt. He left the system because the toxicity nearly killed him. Not this time. His team won't suffer like he did. As they roll toward the White House HQ, Yunwei smiles. Lim doesn't just know how to kill, he knows how to lead. He is barely 20. The woman stares, half convinced Lim is living a second life to be this skilled. Lim just waves it off enough with the jokes. Time to get down to business. Yunwei agrees they have a mountain to climb today and hands over a comprehensive requisition list. She confirms the custom workshop gear will be ready in 2 days. Lim grins. This is why she's the most capable assistant in Team 7. Heroes are always racing the clock, yet Yunwei has prepped everything to perfection. As Lim flips through the dossier, his eyes lock onto a potential recruit. Yunwei sighs. The intel was scarce. Just a name to go on, making the manhunt a nightmare. But she struck gold online, a video showcasing custom items crafted by the applicant. Lim nods. This is exactly the talent he has been hunting for. Jang Yongshin, the only superhuman in all of Korea specializing in crafting. Lim demands the coordinates he is paying this kid a visit, now. Flashback to earlier, Lily begging Lim not to forget her 4 servings of boneless chicken and large fries. Lim swore to keep his promise. But only if she followed the plan to the letter. Deal made. The team pulls up to their target, a humble, run-down barbershop. Lim eyes the mountain of toys scattered around. The owner explains her son loves tinkering. Meanwhile, Lily slumps on the couch, whining about being bored. Lim signals for silence. Suddenly, Something catches Lily's eye. Lim snaps, barking at her not to touch anything, warning her she will break it. She grabs the toy anyway. It is the chicken she loves so much. The woman smiles. Her son made that himself. She tells Lily to keep it. Lim apologizes profusely, explaining that his little cousin is a total terror. The woman waves it off. They have plenty. Lim asks the boy's age. 13. Jung, the barber's son, has savant syndrome, a rare condition where individuals with developmental disabilities display god-tier abilities in specific fields. The trade-off is 0 social skills and a fear of people. Lim realizes he cannot just recruit him like a normal superhuman. He needs a natural approach. Step 1, become a regular. The mother mentions that even now, Jang is likely crafting another invention in the back room. Lim feigns concern. Won't their loud voices distract him? The woman shakes her head. Nothing to worry about. She claims Jang is too focused to notice, but Lim calculates. They are not whispering. If the boy is truly a superhuman, his senses should be screaming. Lim wonders if he should investigate. Suddenly, Jang steps out, asking his mom if everything is okay. The woman freezes. He never comes out on his own. Lim smiles. Jang came out because he sensed the mana. Definite superhuman. Lily realizes it is time to execute Operation Chicken. She dashes up to him, brandishing the chicken toy. She asks if he made it, calling it insanely cute, and demands his secret. Jang blinks. Is she really curious? Lily gushes, calling his work incredible, confused and shy. Jang mumbles that it is nothing special. Lim notes that Lily's Korean is shaky, but the craving for 4 servings of fried chicken is a powerful motivator. Jang opens up. He can make tons of things. Does she want to see? Lily nods enthusiastically. Jang's mother gasps, unable to believe her son is actually talking to a stranger. Lim stands back, watching the pieces fall into place. Lim wonders if Jang has a crush. Whatever the reason, he will take the win. They have secured a genius who will create equipment worth hundreds of billions. Jang joins the guild the very next day and gets to work. A few days later, Lim inspects the gear that Uruk Chieftain's skin was the perfect material. He asks Lily how she likes the new fit. She beams, stylish and incredibly comfortable. She points out the custom chicken and pizza embroidery on the fabric. Wang asks about his uniform, but Lim shuts him down. He does not get one. Lim has accomplished the impossible in record time. Yunwei reports the support team is prepped. Time to move out. Yunwei smirks, teasing Lim about his new hairstyle must be high maintenance. Lim touches his hair. No surprise that barbershop had 0 customers. Scene shift to the dungeon gate. Yunwei is furious, screaming in the gatekeeper's face. Another guild entered ahead of them. The guard stammers he let them in because the queue order changed and he thought the heroes were late. Yunwei demands a name. This was a joint task for 4 guilds. It is painfully obvious the other 3 are trying to screw the heroes over. Lim steps in. Screaming will not change the past. He decides they proceed exactly as planned. Yunwei worries that with the vultures ahead, there will be no loot left. She hangs her head, apologizing for the oversight. Lim tells her not to stress. They might find something even more valuable the others missed. The team piles into the car and drives into the abyss. Lim notes the entrance has been swept clean. 2 hours pass inside the labyrinth of fallen spirits. The twins are huddled in the back. Lim offered them a ride, but they missed their opening. Originally a B-rank spirit maze, the difficulty spiked after several failed closure attempts. It has evolved into a worst-case scenario. Suddenly, Lim's expression darkens. He slams the brakes and orders a hard stop. He steps out. Something is out there. He commands Wang to hold the line and protect the vehicles. This place is called the Labyrinth of Fallen Spirits for a reason. It twists the living into mindless monsters. The twins stare into the darkness, paralyzed. Lim squints at the shambling figures ahead. Judging by the uniforms, that is the Red Shark Guild. Lim deduces they were turned. The zombies here have fangs sharp enough to tear through reinforced battle suits like paper. Must have happened when they let their guard down. Likely stragglers separated from the main force. Lim counts them fortunately. Just a small pack. Lim orders Wang to step up and prove his training. Wang looks terrified, but Lim delivers a chilling ultimatum: get scratched once, and you become one of them. Lim isn't running a daycare today. He shoves Wang directly into the path of the oncoming zombie horde. "Don't be a coward," he snarls. Wang stammers, terror gripping him, but he forces himself to breathe, triggers his ability, and steps into the fray. Lim observes with a critical eye. Wang's stone skin is hardening nicely. It is far denser than it was in the training hall. Above the groans of the undead, Lim barks an order. "Wang, we are subduing them, not executing them. Do not kill." The infected tighten the noose from all sides. Panic flares in Wang's eyes. "What's the play?" he screams. Lim offers a cold, indifferent shrug. "Figure it out." Backed into a corner, Wang swings a granite-heavy fist. Crack. He connects solidly with an infected. The shock melts into pure adrenaline. "I did it," he shrieks, voice cracking with joy. "I actually hit one." Meanwhile, Lily is practically pouting, dancing a fireball across her knuckles. "This is a snooze fest. Can't I just roast them?" Lim shuts her down instantly. "Those are civilians and guild members. Lily, no barbecues today. So don't even think about vaporizing them." Lim pivots to the support crew. Status: one of the twins flashes a thumbs up from behind a camera lens. "Rolling, boss. We got it all on tape." A smirk tugs at Lim's lips. "Good. We need solid proof for the insurance payout." Mercenary work 101, secure the bag. The other twin chimes in. Repellent suits are prepped in green across the board. Lim nods. Time to drop the infected and get them suited up. The third twin steps forward, vial in hand. Antidote secured, exactly as ordered. Lim snatches the vial. In a dungeon hellhole like this, that serum is liquid gold. He sweeps his gaze across the battlefield, dissecting the chaos with the cold precision of a grandmaster. The Red Shark's support staff are out cold, but the frontline fighters, they move with unnatural speed and power. Lim realizes the grim truth: these aren't helpless civilians. They are superhumans. Lim vanishes into a blur of motion, a single, precise flick to the neck, and the infected superhumans drop like puppets with cut strings. One by one, they hit the dirt. Wang watches, jaw on the floor. How does he make it look so easy? Dusting off his hands, Lim surveys the pile of unconscious bodies. Clean work. Wang, line them up. He starts rummaging through his kit gear, specifically curated for the labyrinth of fallen spirits. He produces a high-grade antidote. Here's the nightmare math after a bite. You have 10 minutes before the fever hits. 30 minutes later, you are gone, just another mindless drone serving the hive. Lim knows the clock is the real enemy. Once that half-hour mark ticks over, the victims become loyal soldiers for the zombie hive. It is a fate significantly worse than death. Judging by their ferocity, these guys turned over 30 minutes ago. The antidote will kill the virus, but their minds, their brains are going to be scrambled eggs for a while. Clear the perimeter, Lim orders. I need focus. The team gives him space. Lim steps toward the dazed survivors, his aura expanding, commanding absolute authority. I saved your lives, Lim states flatly. Now, you work for me. He recognizes talent. In a world where specialization is king, versatility is the only way to stay breathing. But when the difficulty spikes, hunters like Lim must evolve. It is exactly why he traversed dimensions in his past life to become the ultimate weapon. From the Gaia continent to the Murim underworld and the battlefields of Byron, he devoured every scrap of magic and martial arts in existence. Survival wasn't just a goal, it was the only rule. Among his arsenal, a forbidden technique to dominate low-intelligence creatures. Absolutely perfect for this mess. He stares down the infected. You fight for us now. It isn't a request. We are hunting zombie bees. Follow my lead. The infected nod. Primal instincts thrilled to have a directive. Cut to the chaos. Wang is sweating buckets inside a heavy hazard suit. I secured the queen bee, he gasps, looking ready to collapse. But we are getting swarmed out here. Lily, torch them, Lim commands, dangling a snack like a treat for a dog. Food, that is her kryptonite. She grins, snatches the snack, and unleashes hellfire. One of the twins watches the carnage, perplexed. I didn't expect the Red Sharks to actually back us up. Did you? Do something to them. Commander, Lim plays the saint. They are just repaying a life debt, happy to help. He checks his wrist. Bug control suit is online. Let's move. Suddenly, Lim freezes. Halt. Footsteps. Another squad of superhumans emerges. Lily squints through the smoke. Hey, isn't that the crew from the slug incident? Before they can even blink, Lily has them under her thumb. Lim nods, satisfied. I am sure they are dying to correct their past mistakes. It is almost too easy. Suspiciously easy. Day 4 hits, and disaster strikes. One of the twins stumbles in, face pale. Monsters. They raided the stockpile. The food is gone. Lim inspects the dirt. Tracks are fresh. They are close. He signals Lily. She blows a whistle matching Lim's frequency and calls in the cavalry. Their mind-controlled legion assembles. Lim watches her work. At least she is enjoying commanding the reptiles. The target, a carpet of red-eyed poison mice surging across the floor, or what is left of them after Lily is finished. The operation is smooth. Too smooth. Lim narrows his eyes, sensing the trap. He knows the dungeon's rhythm, the breathless calm before the storm. The boss is here, right on cue. The atmosphere thickens. Something massive takes wing in the darkness. Demonic mirror bat, intermediate boss. Lim's voice booms like thunder. Combat stations ditch the vehicles wang, front and center. Lim has a counterplay. The bat casts illusions on anyone who meets its gaze, but Lim has already brainwashed the red sharks. You cannot mind control a mind that is already stolen. Wong, do not look at the mirror, Lim shouts. The bat's power is absolute one look, and you become a puppet. Precision is non-negotiable here. But Wong flinches, terror washing over him. I'm scared, Lim and Lily snap in unison. Stop being a coward. Lim pivots instantly. Lily, firewall cut off their path. Everyone fall back 2 kilometers. Now, Lim orders, I will scout the enemy and regroup. He lets out a sharp whistle, scattering his minions to safety. Lily's hand glows white hot. Do I burn the whole place down? Usually, yes, Lim replies. But not today. Kill the flames. Lim triggers concealment, fading into thin air. Wang blinks, bewildered. Where the hell did he go? Lim ignores him, stalking the bat from the shadows. Target acquired. He draws a throwing knife and snaps his wrist. Miss. The bat shrieks, locking eyes with him. Concealment shattered. The beast moves erratically, weaving through the air. Lim realizes he needs range to decrypt its flight pattern. He disengages. Seconds later, he materializes next to the team. The twins rush him. You hit. I'm fine. Lim clips. All business. Listen up. Clock is ticking. Here's the play. The bat is on the hunt. Lim spots the shadow. Target inbound. He signals the tech squad. Pull back. They scramble, yelling. Fortifications are hot. Lim grins. Exactly where he wants it. All units, engage. But the bat isn't playing fair. It unleashes a wave of minions crashing down on their heads. The enemy swarm nosedives into Lim's formation. Chaos erupts. Lim launches himself skyward, aiming a killing blow at the boss. The bat swerves at the last second. It escapes. Lim lands, eyes blazing. Lily now. The girl unleashes a torrent of searing flame, but the winged nightmare shrugs it off. This mid-boss isn't just fast, it is toying with them. It weaves through every strike, practically sneezing in their faces as it drops its guard to mock their futile efforts. Lim spots the arrogance and capitalizes immediately. Boom. A massive shield crashes down, pinning the beast to the floor. He launches himself skyward just as Lily manifests a spectral platform beneath his feet. Lim runs the numbers in a split-second speed. Doesn't matter anymore. It's like, 'cause nothing outruns gravity. He comes down like a meteor, delivering a devastating heel drop that shears the monster's head clean off in one fluid motion. Lim snatches up the loot, a strange mirror, and signals the squad toward the final chamber. Endgame, he growls. Lock it in. No screw-ups. Lily gestures to Wang, who is shivering in the corner like a leaf. How long is Deadweight gonna sit there? Lim shrugs. Let him be. We actually need him terrified until the boss drops. Snap him out of it now, and he is just prime real estate for mind control. Cut to the inner sanctum. A solitary figure stands waiting, draped in a heavy raincoat. The coat slides off, revealing a skeletal frame with eyes burning in spectral blue flame. A spirit hunter. Lim lets out a sharp whistle, and his undead minions swarm the room. The hunter recoils, blindsided. Vaughn charges in, arms spread wide. "Free hugs," he hollers. The skeleton snaps, lashing out with lethal precision. Vaughn deflects the blow, clicking his tongue in disappointment. Wow, rude much. He effortlessly tanks the follow-up swing, eating the damage like a champ. Lim observes from this darkness. Vaughn might be a nervous wreck usually, but his defense absolute iron. This is exactly what Wangguo was built for. Realizing it is cornered, the Spirit Hunter triggers a spell, lighting up the floor with ominous glowing runes. Spirit Connection, a nasty area of effect hex meant to turn every living soul nearby into a mindless puppet. Lim just smirks. Nice try. The squad ignores the dark magic completely, continuing their assault without missing a beat. The hunter is stunned. It has no idea the demonic mirror Lim snagged earlier is already keeping the team in a controlled trance. You can't brainwash what is already mindless. Suddenly, the hunter stiffens. Its blade is caught in an immovable grip. It looks down to see Vaughn holding the steel with his bare hands. "I like you too, buddy," Vaughn beams. Lim glances at Lily. Showtime. The hunter triggers phase 2, devil summoning. Lim rolls his eyes. "Monkey magic, please. I saw that coming a mile away." Lily goes nuclear. Flames engulf the chamber. "If I charbroil them, do they taste like chicken?" she asks with disturbing innocence. For the first time, the spirit hunter actually looks rattled. "Good girl," Lim approves. "Roast the monkeys." Enraged, the skeleton hurls its massive sword with Vaughn still clinging to it like a koala. The projectile flies straight at them. Lim blinks, fairly certain he just saw something incredibly awkward, but decides to delete that mental image immediately. It is not his turn yet. Lim operates on a strict policy: clear the dungeon with 0 caloric expenditure. He leans back, enjoying the show. He lets the minions chip away at the boss's stamina. Only when the enemy is running on fumes will he step in. A full hour grinds by. The skeleton is shrieking in pure desperation. Time's up, Lim decides. He whistles, and the team instantly disengages, leaping back to safety. "Kept you waiting, huh?" Lim steps into the light. "Let's wrap this up." The hunter chitters something furious in an ancient, guttural tongue. Lim doesn't speak dead skeleton, but the vibe is clear. Coward. Lim stares him down. "I hope you understand my words, though. Some of us don't have the luxury of honor. We do what we must to survive." He flashes the illusion mirror. The mirror can't control a boss, but it buys a split-second distraction. That is all Lim needs. Lightning fist. The punch obliterates the skeletal armor. Lim pauses, eyes going wide. Embedded deep in the creature's chest is a spirit stone. That is no ordinary gem. It is a treasure that makes high-level magic stones look like pebbles, an artifact capable of granting a literal miracle. This is why Lim risked the labyrinth of fallen spirits. "I'll put it to good use," he whispers to the crumbling pile of bones. Lily trots over. "Is it over?" Lim ignores her, staring at the stone with a manic grin. He just hit the jackpot. With this, he can unlock transformation. Usually, martial artists use it to perfect their combat physique, but Lim has different priorities. He wants to hit pause on the aging process. He wants to stay young and hot for his retirement, scheduled for exactly 3 years from today. "What you got?" Lily asks, practically drooling. "Tasty." Lim yanks it away. "Not food. You'll die." Lily pouts. "Liar. You just want to hog it all for yourself." Lim opens his mouth to scold her when the stone dissolves into thin air. He freezes. That thing was worth millions at auction. Gone. Just like that. Confused. Lim checks his wrist and notices something impossible. The hands on his broken watch are ticking. It wasn't broken, it was hungry. It runs on pure magical energy. Meanwhile, back topside, the 4 major guilds are in a full-blown panic. 10 days have vanished. The raid team is overdue. Experts are already stamping their files KIA. Yunwei stands by the gate, absorbing the grim news. "You're here again." A man approaches. It is her uncle. "Don't worry. Team 2 is going in. We'll bring the 7th team home." Bang Woo Hyuk, commander of the White House 2nd team. Yunwei shakes her head. The other guilds have already washed their hands of this. They aren't sending anyone. She knows Bang is elite, capable of soloing an A-rank dungeon, but fear still tightens her chest like a vice. Please, she whispers. Be careful. Count on us. Bang turns to his squad, lined up at the portal's maw. Team 2 move out. Suddenly, the gate ripples violently. Combat positions, Bang roars, but no monster emerges. Instead, the 7th team strolls out, casual as a Sunday walk, led by Lim. Bang exhales, the tension draining out of him. Yunwei doesn't hesitate. She sprints forward and launches herself into Lim's arms. Lim stiffens, completely taken off guard. Whoa, what is with the assault? Careful, he grunts, trying to peel her off. I've got a kid strapped to my back. Yunwei pulls away, eyes shimmering with tears. What took you so long? Lim smirks. Just a few unforeseen circumstances. Lim isn't exactly a fan of public displays of affection. He tries to pry himself loose, begging for some personal space, but she refuses to let go. She's hysterical, screaming through her tears that the thought of losing him again is a nightmare she can't handle. Adrenaline fading, Lim is running on fumes and just wants to crash. He tells her to leave the mess. The White House's 7th team is already en route to handle the cleanup and body recovery. It is a miracle the guild's elite made it out in one piece. But the debriefing reveals a chilling truth that Gate wasn't just a dungeon, it was a slaughterhouse, far exceeding every danger metric the government had on file. The chauffeur is running his mouth a mile a minute, gushing about how the entire nation is buzzing over Lim's heroics. For Lim, the fame is just noise. He cuts through the chatter with a sharp question. I thought you said the weather held up. The driver nods, confirming that while Lim was battling for survival underground, the surface world was bone dry. Not a drop of rain, not a single gray cloud in the sky. Then, the driver drops a bomb. Casually, he asks if Lim noticed the rainbow that manifested 4 days ago. Lim freezes. His blood runs cold. That is no trick of the light. It is the omen of the end times, the first great calamity. Lim knows the clock is ticking. Slowly, those vibrant colors will fade from the sky. And on the day the rainbow vanishes completely. Hell descends on Earth. The night of the 7 moons. In a single instant, hundreds of gates will tear open the fabric of reality, vomiting forth an endless tide of nightmares. In his previous life, Lim was a rat hiding in a bunker, barely scraping by, but history will not repeat itself. The board has changed, and he holds the calamity of fire in his hand. Gone is the fragile survivor of the past. His wristwatch hums with power, channeling the Spirit Stone's essence as it morphs into a heavy iron gauntlet. He isn't running anymore. He is ready for war. Rewind to the preparations. Lily is having a crisis with her wardrobe. She's complaining that the waistline is strangling her internal organs, a major tactical error, considering she plans to annihilate the buffet table. Lim offers a practical solution. Why not wear a pair of baggy coveralls? Lily shoots him a glare that could cut glass. That is a hard pass. Lim throws his hands up in defeat. Hey, don't look at me. Yunwei was the one who donated the gown after realizing Lily's closet was completely void of anything resembling formal attire. Leaving a gift like that on the hanger would be rude. Lim advises her to grit her teeth and look pretty for the grand entrance. She can change into sweatpants once the boring speeches are over. Lily's face brightens instantly. The man is a genius. Back to the present, the dungeon is cleared, the squad is alive, and the White House Guild is hosting a celebration fit for royalty. Master Chan welcomes them like returning warlords. He grabs Lim in a bear hug that threatens to crack ribs, bellowing that he never doubted Lim's survival for a single second. Yunwei is beaming, delighted to see the dress hugging Lily's frame perfectly. She thanks him, and her voice rings out with a new confidence. She's getting stronger by the day. Jang seizes the moment, stepping forward to ask if Lily would do him the honor of joining him for dinner. As they walk off, Yunwei watches like a proud parent, getting emotional over her social progress. Lim scans the banquet hall. The Black Hound Guild is vibrant, full of laughter and life. A scene like this, in his old life, it was a fantasy he didn't dare hope for. A massive shadow looms over him. It is Chan. No small talk tonight. He cuts straight to the point. What is your endgame, kid? Lim blinks, taken aback by the sudden interrogation. The guildmaster is a little drunk and feeling philosophical, wanting to know what fuels the fire of the next generation. Lim's answer is immediate: retirement, absolute, unadulterated laziness. I'm going to stack cash, build a massive 9,900 square meter mansion, pack it with friends, and spend the rest of my days doing absolutely nothing. Jang, Wang, and Yunwei stare at him in total disbelief. Yunwei sighs dreamily, calling it paradise. Wang nods, admitting a quiet life has its appeal. But Chan isn't buying it. He narrows his eyes. You don't crave power. The chief is seconds away from conscripting Lim into a training camp from hell, but Yunwei interrupts the recruitment pitch. In the beginning, Lim's only goal was to keep his head down and survive the apocalypse. But the game has changed. He has untapped potential now. He has allies he can trust, and he realizes if he can't prevent the catastrophe, he's going to exploit it. Cut to the vacation arc. Chan stands at the edge of a crystal clear lake deep within the forbidden territory, mesmerized. Without a word, he launches himself into the water. Nature is the ultimate healer, he roars, splashing around. Lim tells the chief and the crew to enjoy it a full week of downtime. On the house, then, his radar pings. Yunwei is approaching. She holds out a bottle of sunscreen, claiming she can't possibly reach her back. Lim rolls his eyes hard enough to see his brain. Sounds like you need to work on your flexibility. He twists his arm back, effortlessly touching his own shoulder blades to prove she's full of it. She pouts, annoyed that her flirtation hit a brick wall. Lim points toward Wang and Rice Cake. You want a massage? Ask the volunteers over there. Yunwei blinks, realizing she hasn't actually been introduced to the large newbie yet. Who is this? Rice Cake freezes solid. The goddess is speaking directly to him. He practically trips over his own feet to get to her, words tumbling out in a panic. I'm Kim, Minyi, but... please, call me Red Bean Rice Cake. Yunwei offers a polite, confused smile, but Lim intervenes. We aren't on nickname terms yet, and if he keeps acting like a glitching NPC, I'm renaming him. How does whipped blood pie sound to you? Lim ignores the terrified look and turns to the guildmaster. Hey, chief, you up for a race? Chan's grin is predatory. You're on. First to the far bank takes the bragging rights. A rock is tossed high into the air. The second it splashes, they explode off the starting line like torpedoes. Chan tears ahead instantly. Lim isn't shocked the man is a physical god, after all, but Lim isn't swimming for gold. He's swimming to use Chan as high-grade bait. Mid-stroke. Chan slams on the brakes. Something feels off. Suddenly, the lake erupts as a colossal octopus breaches the surface. Chan doesn't look frightened, he looks insulted. You dare interrupt my cardio? He rockets out of the water, defying gravity to deliver a haymaker that creates a shockwave. The monster reels, stunned, but Chan is just warming up, raining down a flurry of fists. Lim watches from a safe distance, impressed. The chief is dismantling a mythical sea beast with his bare hands. Bringing a human tank on a camping trip was a strategic masterpiece. As the carcass sinks, Lim paddles over. You good? Didn't know we had company, Lim quips dryly. On the shore, Jang lets out a breath he was holding. Relieved Lim is scratch-free. That's the forbidden territory. Never a dull moment. They've drifted deep into the lake. Chan, switching back to leader mode, glances at the shore. He suggests dragging the calamari back to the lab to see what made it tick. Lim nods, but tells him to go ahead. He wants to check the deep end first. Don't take too long. Lunch is waiting. Chan yells, towing the carcass back to the beach. Lim runs the numbers. Chan's rampage just cleared the area of predators. The coast is clear. He activates his mana shield and lets himself sink like a stone. That octopus was just a roadblock. The real prize and the true danger is lurking in the freezing darkness below. He has no idea how deep this trench goes, only that something valuable is sleeping at the bottom. He descends until a spectral green light pierces the murky gloom. Bingo. He found it. Lim decides to regroup with the boys and enjoy his vacation for now. He'll return for this later. And when he does, he's bringing Lily. Suddenly, everything goes sideways. A crushing gravitational singularity yanks Lim into the abyss. His defensive barrier cracks like cheap glass, shattering instantly as he flails against the overwhelming pressure. The undertow is brutal, shredding his plans for a quick extraction. Meanwhile, topside, Zhang and Lily are just killing time. Zhang slides a glass across the table, warning her to chug it now. If the commander gets back first, they will be force-fed some ungodly mystery stew. Lily nods, choosing the drink over the culinary hazard. Cut to a damp, sunless cavern. Lim gasps awake, senses reeling but intact. Through the gloom, whispers bounce off the wet stone walls. They are debating whether to ambush him. But as his eyes adjust, he realizes these aren't dungeon nightmares, they are pint-sized. Very familiar spirits. Identify yourself, they squeak. Lim ignores the interrogation, coolly asking if they dragged him here while he snaps his bindings like wet tissue paper. The creatures freeze, expecting a massacre now that the giant is loose. But Lim just waves a hand, telling them to chill. He is not in a murdering mood today. Back in the Nostal continent, these things were everywhere. In his past life as a guide, Lim used to spot them hanging around high-purity mana springs. They are Snowcap's gentle, harmless fairies. Lim skips the pleasantries and names their species out loud, catching them off guard. The fairies gasp, a human who knows their lore. Questions fly. Have you been to Nostal? Do you speak Fae? Lim shuts it down, establishing a strict one question at a time policy. This doesn't add up. His data from the previous timeline never mentioned this place. If history is rewriting itself, that is bad news. He demands to know why they are cowering in a hole. The Snowcaps slump, depression washing over them. They explained they were living the good life in a lake until the water and everyone in it got warped into this dimension. Lim pieces it together instantly. They are inside the first gate. The fairies describe the aftermath, monsters manifesting out of thin air and tearing each other to shreds. Then came the Kraken. The beast wiped out their population. The survivors fled to the crushing depths, finding this air pocket as a last resort. It is a tragedy of near extinction, explaining why the archives held no record of them. The leader weeps, claiming they have absolutely zero future here. Trapped in the dark, they are fading away, with the Kraken acting as the warden. The fairy rambles on, resigned to their slow, inevitable death. Inevitable. Lim cuts through the gloom with a reality check. The Kraken is dead. The path is open. The Snowcaps scream back, accusing him of peddling false hope. Test it. Lim dares them. A brave Snowcap swims up, brushing her tail against his hand. Her mana reacts to his aura, and her tail lights up a brilliant, undeniable green. The realization hits hard. They explode into cheers, spinning in the air, thanking the hero for avenging their kin. But the screeching is deafening. Lim snaps. Quiet, he roars, clutching his head. Their high-pitched celebration is giving him a migraine. He proposes a temporary alliance to escape, and the leader eagerly accepts. Friends is a stretch, but Lim plays the part. He is after the unearthly power. Securing that item now turns the upcoming first calamity from a nightmare into a cakewalk. But there is a catch. A guardian protects the loot. Lim decides to use his new fan club to navigate straight to the treasure. His brain immediately pivots to business. He starts running the numbers on turning this magical lake into a Snowcap-themed resort. The profit margins would be criminal. Stop! Snowdrop screams. Her warning comes just in time. Lim freezes, barely missing a hidden trap that would have shredded him. Okay, going solo would have been suicide. The fairy chirps that they are close, but she insists on stopping to say hello to their protector. Lim's internal alarms start ringing. Protector. He asks them to wait, dread pooling in his gut. Please, don't let it be a white, armored construct. Is it waist high and made of metal? He asks. Snowdrop nods enthusiastically, bragging about how tough their best friend is. Mystery solved. That is why the Kraken never entered this cave. Lim identifies the guardian instantly. He tells the fairies to go ahead while he hangs back. The Snowcaps return, but they brought company. A mechanical silhouette emerges from the shadows. Lim sighs, worst fears confirmed. Intruder detected. The machine drones. A heavy blast door slams down behind Lim, sealing the tomb. The droid scans him, optics shifting to combat red. Target destruction authorized. Lim glances at the fairies with a dry smirk. Some friend you have there. Snowdrop is baffled as the robot marks Lim for death. Suddenly, the machine shifts gears, armor plating expanding into a hulking combat chassis with razor claws. Right then, Lim mutters. Let's see what this gear can do. The machine strikes. Lim catches the blow with his armored gauntlet, sparks showering the cave floor. The impact skids him backward, but he stays upright. The weight difference is massive, but Lim remains cool. He has fought worse. He spots the opening. The servo on the right side is lagging. The robot hesitates, recalculating the threat level. It unlocks military-grade weaponry to compensate. Lim doesn't wait for the loadout, smashing a fist into its chassis. Did you think I'd wait for you to power up? Nanobots swarm the dent auto repair. Lim curses. Keeping the glove active is burning through his mana reserves fast. He needs a new plan. He considers blasting through the wall to flank it with Jong and Lily. But before he can move, the situation gets messy. Snowdrop flies straight into the crossfire. "Don't hurt Snowblind," she screams. "He's our friend." Lim stares, stunned by her suicidal naivety. The robot has no such moral qualms. Target lock confirmed. It buzzes, charging weapons. Lim dives, tackling the machine aside milliseconds before it vaporizes the fairy. Snowdrop loses it, screaming at Lim. "Why did you hit him?" Lim grunts, barely dodging a steel fist. "We can debate ethics when we aren't dead." The fight ends with the crunch of metal. The snowcaps gather around the scrap heap that was Snowblind, sobbing and accusing Lim of murdering their buddy. It swung first. Lim defends himself. "Was I supposed to let it kill me?" The fairy sniffles. "No, but we're still not happy about it." Suddenly, static crackles from the wreckage. "Combat test complete. Mastery verified." The chest plate slides open, revealing a shimmering key. It was a trial run. Lim snatches the key time to find the vault. The snowcaps, however, keep mourning their broken toaster, declaring that Lim is officially off their Christmas list. Friends don't kill friends. That was Lim's hard line. He swore the construct wasn't scrap metal yet. The snowcaps looked at him sideways, convinced he was bluffing, until a quick diagnostic proved the madman right. To Lim, that golem was a massive migraine waiting to happen, an artifact of lost engineering that modern tech couldn't even dream of copying. But that was where Jan came in. The guy was a wizard with machinery, literally the only mechanic alive capable of a hard reboot. "First things first," Lim muttered, stepping through a shimmering rift. Snow drifted at his flank, eyes wide as saucers. "This space, it's virgin territory," she whispered. "What are we hunting for?" Oh, Lim knew. He knew exactly what lay inside. And there it sat. The golden elixir of vitality. A bottomless well of potent restoration that spat in the face of medical science. Lim couldn't fight the smirk tugging at his lips. In an age before alchemy grew its teeth, he had just secured an infinite tap of premium healing serum, served up in a luxury chalice. He was ecstatic. The flavor was heavenly. He could make a killing selling shots of this stuff. But profit wasn't the play. Survival was. The night of the first calamity of the 7 moons was coming. When the legions broke through, this drink wouldn't just be a luxury, it would be the lifeline for thousands. Lim took a deep draft. "Me too," Snow pleaded. She had caught a whiff of that concentrated mana. Lim warned her the cup was running on fumes, but he wasn't heartless. He offered a sip, promising. A full round later, Snow barely wet her lips. Boom. She lit up like a supernova, blindingly bright. Even she looked horrified by the surge. Lim frowned, running the mental math. Did ancient elixirs hit water spirits differently? I feel weightless. Snow chirped, but the vibe was off. "You're condensing," Lim observed dryly. "A problem for another day." "We're done here," the hero announced, cutting the excursion short. "Move out." He ordered the snowcaps to haul the golem toward the surface. Weird. The higher they climbed, the hotter the water got. Breaking the surface, they found night had fallen, but the sky was burning with an apocalyptic orange glow. The snowcaps shivered. Lim cranked his neck up, already knowing the culprit. Was Lily sleepwalking, or just playing arsonist again? She had conjured a fireball so massive, the local fairies probably thought the sun had decided to work the night shift. Lily blinked, looking genuinely shocked to see Lim pop up. "Kill the flame and get down here," Lim roared. "Are you trying to turn this lake into a sauna?" Chan was losing his mind. "Where have you been?" Lim checked the clock, tight timing. Another minute underwater, and they would have been boiled lobsters. Extreme circumstances. Lim deadpanned, Chan exhaled, the tension snapping. Thank God. She was 10 seconds away from evaporating the whole damn postcode. Suddenly, Yunhui and Wang came tearing over, screaming Lim's name. Chan flagged them down, but Yunhui didn't break. She tackled Lim into a bone-crushing hug. Where did you go? Then, snow zipped out from Lim's shadow. Contact, Chan shrieked, weapons raised, at ease. Lim sighed, diffusing the standoff. She's friendly. Debriefing later. The hero promised. Suddenly thud. Lily buried her skull into Lim's chest like a battering ram. Where were you? She demanded, raining tiny, furious blows on him. It is past dinner time, she wailed, keeping up the assault. I was so worried I skipped a meal. Do you know what that does to me? Lim rested a hand on her head, murmuring a quiet apology. Playtime was over. Reality was calling collect, and it was time to answer. Flash forward, total chaos. The squad was already deep in the trenches, holding the line against a tidal wave of orcs while civilians scrambled for safety. Lim barked the order. Wang, you're up. The tank didn't flinch. His brutal regimen of 5 mana-dense meals a day and hellish training was about to pay dividends. His growth curve was vertical, shattering even Lim's projections. If he kept this up, Wang would be the undisputed MVP of the coming calamity. Hold it. Wang fall back. Lim pivoted to his artillery. Lily, you green. She nodded, eyes locking on target. Give me 60 seconds. Lim had bribed her with French fries literally. She was screaming about sodium levels as she unleashed a hellstorm, incinerating the horde. Target neutralized, she chirped. Now pay up the monster burger set, as promised. Lim checked his wrist. You were 5 seconds over. Hope you like single patties. Commander, is there room at that table for me? Wang asked, wiping grime from his face. Suddenly, Lim's eyes narrowed. Shadow movement behind Wang. Lim launched himself forward, covering the tank's 6. Shadow Goblin, Lim hissed, discarding the corpse. Nasty little assassins waiting for a slip-up. He glanced back at his tank. You were saying something about dinner. Wang looked pale. Stay sharp, the hero warned. Wang nodded, swallowing hard. Actually, I think I will stick to protein and extra reps tonight. Lim smirked. That was the spirit. He could feel his own power surging back, reflexes sharpening to the razor edge of his past life. Shadow Goblins were barely a warm-up now. His mana core was expanding. At this pace, he wouldn't just match his prime, he would eclipse it. They gazed up at a rainbow cutting through the smoke. Hey, no red, Lily pointed out. Lim's face fell. If that red band didn't show. The Night of 7 Moons was 2 weeks out. Survival demanded a trifecta overwhelming firepower to thin the herd, a kill team to shatter the gate core, and a contingency to shield the city. Stamina management and triage were non-negotiable. Lim had the healing locked down with the elixir. Now for the logistics. Flashback to headquarters. Yunhui was running down the numbers. Potion distribution goes live this week, she reported, fingers flying across a tablet. Keep eyes on it, Lim instructed. I want to know about any glitches instantly. What about the food franchise? Doesn't even matter anymore, Yunhui replied. We killed the marketing budget, and superhumans are still queuing around the block. We shrank the portions and jacked up the prices, she added. They are still buying it like candy. Lim nodded. Good. Yunhui shot him a smirk. Am I impressing you yet? Lim pivoted. Status on Jang. He claims the golem is mobile, Yunhui said, skepticism dripping from her voice. Honestly, if it was anyone else, I would call bluff. But Jang swears he's got it under control. Lim slid into the waiting sedan. Trust the man. He will deliver. What makes you so certain? Yunhui pressed. Because, Lim said, buckling in, I need this wrapped up so I can take Lily to the zoo. He pulled a dossier from his coat. It was a list of his old war buddies, now living strangers' lives. Lim sighed. His interference had rippled through the timeline. The future was rewritten, and there was no guarantee their paths would ever cross in this new world. Lim locks the final files into his private archives. Yunhui, the definition of a workaholic, hovers nearby. Anything else? Sir. She is practically begging for one last task before he vanishes. Heading out for his 7-day leave, Lim glances at the rearview mirror. Quick question, how long does it take you to get to work every day? The driver blinks, caught off guard. Roughly an hour, sir. Inefficient, Lim murmurs, spotting the dark circles under the man's eyes. The driver starts to wave it off, but Lim steamrolls right over him. How about an apartment right next to the guild? The steering wheel jerks, the guy is absolutely floored. Lim keeps talking like he's discussing the weather, ordering Yunwei to secure the housing lease instantly. Make it a large unit, he adds. Big enough for the whole family. Put it on my personal account. Yunwei suppresses a smile, shaking her head. The man is an enigma, she thinks. The driver stammers, questioning his own hearing. It saves time, which saves me trouble, Lim insists, shutting down the profuse thanks before they start. I have more wealth than I can burn in a lifetime, so do not dare say no. The driver freezes, paralyzed by the sudden windfall. A wide grin splits the man's face. He is either dreaming or he just won the lottery inside. Lim's mind is running a different calculation. With alchemy, gold is trivial. I can generate millions in a heartbeat. But all the money in the world will not buy a ticket out of the apocalypse. Lim's gaze turns steel cold. The clock is ticking, and there is still a mountain of prep work before the end begins. Cut to the exterior. Mina waves them off, wishing the team safe travels. Lim has left the entire headquarters under her watchful eye, trusting her to hold the fort. Do not think you are off the hook forever, Lily teases, falling into step beside him. They trek through the dense tree line until a familiar silhouette emerges. Wang stands before a massive boulder, practically vibrating with frustration. Lim signals Lily to cut the chatter. Quiet, he whispers. He is in the zone. Too slow, Wang roars at the rock, his face contorted in self-loathing. This is not enough if I do not level up right now. The commander is going to toss me out. Lim winces from the bushes. He has zero intention of firing the guy, but Wang's anxiety is clearly eating him alive. Whatever fuels the fire, Lim decides, choosing to let the man grind in peace. Power is power. He turns to Lily. Time to hit the sky. Without missing a beat, Lily manifests a shimmering platform of mana beneath their boots. Impressive, Lim notes. When did you pick that up? Just now, she shrugs. Thought I would give it a shot. A literal genius, Lim thinks, shaking his head at her terrifying potential. Moments later, they touch down at Lim's hidden vault, a bunker stuffed with S-class loot from the Forbidden Zone. Lily greets the snow spirit standing sentry at the gate. Status report, the leader chirps, snapping to attention. All clear. Ma'am, quiet as a graveyard. Perfect. Lim nods. Keep the perimeter locked tight. The spirits salute, pledging to guard the horde with their very existence. They down the elixir of life, speeding their movements to a blur. Lim syncs his mana signature with theirs, creating a living security system that will scream if anyone so much as sneezes near the door. Lily browses the artifacts. What is the play here? Lim points to the charlatan's mask. Charisma buff plus voice modulation. It makes you sound like an ancient prophet. The sage's mantle throws out a suffocating mana pressure, and this wooden staff, it radiates pure terror when you pump it full of energy. Time to suit up. Lim throws on the sage's robe and secures the mask. His voice drops an octave, vibrating with otherworldly resonance. Setup complete, he intones. Operation Doomsday Prophet is a go. Flash forward. A tear in reality rips open above the city center. Two figures float out from the swirling vortex, Lim and Lily, looking like gods descending. Like pedestrians freeze, jaws hitting the pavement. Excellent, Lim thinks, his eyes sweeping over the gathering masses. The bigger the audience, the better the show. Lim keeps the hood up, the mask hiding his face. I am Archmage Maximus of the Gaia continent, he booms. I bring a message of ruin to this realm. The crowd mutters, confused. His opening line was gibberish in alien dialect that has not been spoken on Earth in eons. Is that a monster? Panic starts to ripple through the street. Suddenly, Lim's staff flares with blinding white light. Silence, he commands, activating translation magic. Allow me to clarify. His voice cuts through the noise, crystal clear now. I am Archmage Maximus. Listen closely, for your lives depend on these words. Lily catches the cue, expanding the mana platform. They ascend higher, Lim's voice rolling over the city like thunder. I have come to warn you. Ooh, a real mage. Someone gasps, pointing upward. Lim gestures to the horizon. That rainbow you see is no miracle. It is the mark of the curse. When the colors fade, a calamity will swallow your lands. Thousands of hellgates will tear through the fabric of your reality. Lily holds them steady, selling the divine messenger act perfectly. Demons will drown the sky and earth. The living shall perish, and the dead shall walk. Unite now, or face total extinction. Hook, line, and sinker. Lim smirks behind the porcelain mask. The artifact amplifies his voice to a bone-rattling bass, while the robe pumps out a crushing aura that brings the crowd to its knees. The staff is just a glorified flashlight, but it looks terrifying. A police officer steps forward, legs shaking. How? How do we stop it? You cannot, Lim answers, his voice void of hope. You can only mitigate the slaughter. Bring me your king, Lim demands. I will share the details only with the ruler of this world. Scene shift. The Blue House interrogation room. Ju Sang-wook, director of the Superhuman Support Service, stares him down. I have never met a mage before, he admits. Your ignorance is noted, Lim replies smoothly, but I lack the time for small talk. Take me to your king, now. Director Ju frowns, leaning back. What makes you so sure I am not the king? Do rulers look different where you come from? Do not toy with me, Lim scoffs. I am a reader of fate. My sight is not absolute, but, I see the tapestry of history. I see the destiny of those who carve the path of the world. Lim leans forward, the mask inching closer. You are no king today, but I see the hunger in your soul. You aim for the throne in the near future, do you not? Ju stiffens, his mask of calm cracking. Lim is not using magic, he is recalling the timeline. He knows all about Ju's upcoming presidential campaign and his reputation as a merciless judge of superhumans. He knows Ju loathes those who abuse their power. That is all the spirits whisper to me, Lim lies, pulling back with mystical flair. Suddenly, the door crashes open. An aide bursts in, breathless. Director, the president requests an immediate audience with the interdimensional mage. Ju hands Lim his staff, a new glint of respect in his eyes. Follow me to the king. They walk through the Blue House, a fortress rebuilt after the first gate blew the roof off years ago. A nightmare poured from the breach, erasing the president and parliament in a single stroke. And the election that followed? A cheap bandage on a lethal wound. Chaos still reigns supreme, but the Blue House has evolved. It stands as a grim, militarized fortress. Meanwhile, Sanic announces their arrival. They step into the Oval Office, where the president greets the hero, desperately clinging to the crumbling authority of his title. I've heard the rumors, the president says, eyeing them warily. Aximus, the mage from another dimension. Lim confirms the identity. He is Aximus, a sorcerer from the Gaia continent. He offers a slight bow, apologizing for the translation magic bridging their worlds. The president waves it off, forcing a tight smile. It is fine. Please, sit. Lim moves to the chair but freezes. Unique furniture, he notes dryly. The president doesn't blink. It is a lie detector. Standard procedure these days. One false word, and I will know. The president warns. Lim feigns a tremor of fear, suggesting perhaps the president should demonstrate its safety first. Just sit, the president commands. Lim instantly straightens his posture. I have nothing to hide. He takes the seat, bracing for the interrogation. Are you truly from Gaia? The president demands. Yes, they answer in unison. And this disaster you speak of? Is it real? It is, Lim replies, his voice rock steady. We came to warn you. He glances at Lily. My assistant knows little, but I saw it all. Tell me everything, the president orders. Lily looks confused, but Lim is ice calm. A master of martial arts. He controls his breath, his pulse, even his sweat glands. The machine stays silent. He is beating the lie detector. Convinced, the president orders the wires removed. Lim exhales, playing the part of the relieved guest to perfection. I apologize for the suspicion, the president mutters. Caution is wise, Lim says graciously. But the president leans in, voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. Now, a personal question. Can you take me to your world? Before the end comes here, the president begs, is Gaia safer? He reasons that if the mage came from there, it must be a sanctuary compared to this doomed planet. Lim's expression darkens instantly. You are the leader of this nation, he snaps, and you wish to abandon your people just to save your own skin. I never asked to be king, the president screams, leaping from his chair. I inherited a graveyard. If you want money, power, name it. I will give you anything. The president is completely unraveling. I am sick of this world where death waits around every corner. Just take me, my family, my friends. Please. Lim stares at the pathetic display. He never expected the leader of a nation to be this spineless. I misjudged you. Lim grabs Lily's hand, pulling her toward the door. We are leaving. The president freezes, shock plastered across his face. But you said you would help, he stammers. Lim stops. You will never know what I'm thinking right now. He looks back with cold eyes. I need nothing from you. He rejects the offer flat out. The president sighs, his shoulders slumping in defeat. I see. Then, there is no other choice. The silent guard in the corner steps forward. He removes his mask to reveal the truth. It is Kim Suho Titan, the first awakened. He moves with godlike speed, blurring across the room to block the exit. The air grows heavy with pressure. Lim realizes he cannot match this power. He cannot even meet the man's gaze. What is so funny? Suho asks, a smirk playing on his lips. Lim relaxes his stance. How long were you planning to keep up the act? King Suho. You knew. Suho raises an eyebrow. Your destiny star, Lim replies. It shines too bright to hide. Kim Suho, the hero who brought order to the chaos. When the first gate opened, he rallied the police and shielded the civilians. And when the dust settled on the elections, he rebuilt the Blue House from the ashes. He is the true ruler of this country, the one who restored order while the politicians cowered. Every citizen in South Korea knows his legend. The scene shifts. We are now at the Disaster Response Center. Suho takes the podium. Before we begin, Suho announces, meet the mage who brought us the prophecy. This is Axum Simus. Lim steps forward. Listen closely, Lim says. He lays out the grim future, the catastrophe that approaches. He finishes, letting the heavy weight of his words settle over the room. Lim scans the room. The heavy hitters are all here. Baek Jang-sung the monster, Kim Tae-jin the demon king, Han Jae-hee the ice queen, and Ma Ti-woon the iron wall. The 5 first awakened, the strongest warriors in the nation, the pillars who hold the line against the monsters alongside Suho. Tomorrow morning, Suho declares, I will declare a national state of emergency. We will prepare for total war. Suho continues, I need every resource available. Jin speaks up, skepticism dripping from his voice. You actually believe this fairy tale, Mr. President? Ti-woon scoffs, crossing his massive arms. I agree with Jin. The guy looks like a 2-bit con artist. They argue that invoking martial law without proof is sheer madness. It is too hasty, they shout. The room erupts into chaos. Silence. Suho roars. I have verified his claims personally. Have you forgotten of the first gate? Suho asks, his voice cutting deep. Do you want to be caught unprepared again? If nothing happens, we celebrate, Suho argues. But if we do nothing and the disaster strikes, we lose everything. Ti-woon exhales loudly, grumbling about wasted effort. Suddenly, he stands up and lunges across the table straight at the heroes. Lim tenses, ready for combat, but Ti-woon isn't aiming for him. He grabs Lily instead. She has been annoying me this whole time. The giant growls. Stand still, Ti-woon barks. Why the mask? Hiding a scar? Or maybe you are a criminal. He rips the mask from her face. The mask clatters to the floor. The room goes deadly silent. Lily is not human. She has the ears of a cat, and she is hissing in pure fury. A beastkin, the council murmurs in shock. Lim steps in quickly, placing a calming hand on his assistant's shoulder. You made a mistake, Lim says smoothly. Her kind. Lim lies with perfect conviction, are deeply ashamed to show their true faces to humans. That is why she wears the mask. He mentally pats himself on the back. He and Lily had rehearsed this cover story a dozen times. The voice modulating mask was just the icing on the cake. But here is the kicker: pulling that mask off triggers an instant polymorph spell, transforming the victim into a harmless house cat. Lim watches like a hawk, dying to see Min's face when he realizes his big theory is dead wrong. Suho tears into Min, demanding he apologize for the reckless stunt. Min bows deep, begging for forgiveness, while Lim notices something suspicious. Lily is playing the confused kitten role a little too perfectly. Cut to the next day. Suho is plastered across every screen and frequency, declaring a national emergency. He stands grim at the podium, announcing that the country is staring down the barrel of an unprecedented crisis. Confusion ripples through Korea, but the panic is short-lived. The people adapt with terrifying speed, putting their blind faith in the military and the superhuman police squads flooding the streets. Guilds mobilize instantly, launching massive military drills. Amidst the chaos, an officer corners Lim, asking about the rumor that the sage is packing his bags today. Lim confirms it. His mana reserves for dimensional transfer are running on fumes. He promises to return in a few hours, giving the man just enough courage to make a humble request before the sage vanishes. Lim nods, promising to do what he can. The officer gestures to a stack of ancient texts, loot confiscated during the bloody suppression of the recent uprising. He's only brought the ones that aren't falling apart, hoping Lim can appraise them. He apologizes for the rush, admitting he's operating on borrowed time. He just wants to know if there are any hidden gems in the pile. Lim manages expectations immediately. He's a mage, not an omniscient librarian. Don't expect miracles. Lim wonders if these people see him as a god or just a glorified scanner. Sure, he can speak any language, but his reading literacy, that's strictly limited to the scripts of the Gaia continent and the Murim world. If it's not about martial arts or magic, he's basically illiterate. But as Lim casually flips through the stack, his eyes lock onto a title that makes his heart stop. He recognizes it instantly. The Sword Emperor's Chronicles. And this isn't a biography. It's a first-person account written by Nan Gong, the legendary Sword Emperor himself. In the martial arts world, this man was the sword incarnate. Lim checks the syntax. It's authentic. Is he actually holding the original manuscript penned by the legend? The officer notices Lim's intensity and asks if there's a problem. Lim isn't 100% sure the book is real, but he knows one thing: he needs to secure it, now. Putting on his best poker face, Lim lies through his teeth. This book was penned by a demon. He turns to the assistant. Did you find a sword with this? The blade linked to this text carries a curse, Lim explains. It drives the wielder mad, forcing them to slaughter the innocent. The assistant turns pale and scrambles to double-check the inventory. Lim thinks to himself that scoring the Heavenly Emperor's sword would be too lucky. And he's right. The assistant returns empty-handed, no sword, just a book and some tattered rags. Recovered from a collapsed cave, Lim feigns relief, hiding his disappointment. He tells the assistant, "Since this is dangerous, I'll confiscate it personally. I need to seal the evil away." "Keep this between us," he warns. The king is too busy with the crisis to deal with cursed books. With the loot secured, the scene shifts to Lim settling in to devour his prize. The chronicle begins with the origin of the Sword Emperor, an illegitimate child of the Non-Gong clan, but born with a martial talent gifted directly by the heavens. Yet, talent doesn't cure lineage. He faces brutal discrimination. After his mother dies, Nan Gong is barred from even watching the clan's training sessions. The clan head even stole the elixirs and techniques that were his birthright. Lim skims through the tragic backstory. He's not here for drama. He wants the ending, where the Grandmaster loses to the heavenly demon, Tiama, in a split-second exchange. Suddenly, Lily pops up, interrupting the good part. "What you doing?" She's bored. Lim doesn't even look up. "Go play by yourself. I need to finish these manuals before lunch. Grab a book if you're that bored. Just don't bug me." To his immense relief, the mischievous girl darts off. He shouts after her to come back later, secretly celebrating the silence. Lim dives back in, but the dense writing is starting to drain him. Lim grumbles. This author loves the sound of his own voice. He's trying to learn the divine art of shattering the heavens, not read a philosophy dissertation. Finally, the core techniques. The manual explains the concept so simply even a monkey could get it. If you can't grasp this, you have no business holding a sword. Lim realizes he needs to drill this into his brain. He drops into a lotus position right there, ready to test the theory immediately. A crimson circle ignites in the center of his chest. Lim recalls the 3 pillars of internal energy cultivation: accumulation, the tank size and the dantian; stability, the flow control; and radiation, the explosive output power. Lim analyzes the technique. His previous method, Diha Simbap, was all about stability. But this, Pachon Simgong, it achieves perfect harmony of all 3. It is, without exaggeration, flawless. Lim finally gets why Morin warriors stake their lives on manuals like this. He decides to master the basics right now. A glance at the clock shows lunch came and went. Wait, where's Lily? A sudden mana spike snaps him to attention. Lim spins around just as a massive dungeon gate rips open the sky above the palace. Below, the screams begin. Panic explodes as monsters rain from the sky. A towering minotaur is the first to crash land, its sheer size sending the crowd into a frenzy of terror. The minotaur raises a massive mace to crush the fleeing humans, but Lim intercepts, his magical shield catching the strike dead in its tracks. Stay in the barrier, he orders. He shouts that the magic will hold, but internally Lim is itching to test the Pachon cultivation he just learned. He realizes that using high-tier magic here, might bring the palace down on their heads, so he switches to physical reinforcement. As the Minotaur slams its mace down, Lim leaps, landing square on the beast's skull. He unleashes a single punch, and the massive creature is launched through the air like a rag doll. Lim lands confused. Why did the monster feel so incredibly fragile? Is this Minotaur defective? The monster roars, shaking it off to swing again. Lim dodges effortlessly, moving so fast he vanishes from the beast's sight. He delivers a crushing blow to the leg, snapping it like a dry twig. Then it hits him. The beast isn't weak. He has just become absurdly strong. He needs to learn the other techniques, fast. Just then, Lily floats up, dragging the assistant along for the ride. Where have you been? Lim asks. Lily beams. I made some friends. Lim raises an eyebrow. Friends in this world. Suddenly, the portal pulses, and a horde of minotaurs pours out like a flood. Lim sighs. He wanted to save the property values, but with this many enemies, he has no choice. There is no other choice. Lim's voice booms across the battlefield. He summons a meteor shower from the heavens, leaving the crowd absolutely speechless. Even the future president is watching. He calls it a miracle, swearing that one day, a statue of the great sage will tower over Gwanghwamun Square. Dust settles. The heroes are still standing. Suho bows, swearing he's in debt for life. But Lim, disguised as Axiomist, just shrugs it off. I only did what was necessary. The hero begs for more help to stop the coming apocalypse, but they are interrupted, and aid rushes toward Lim. He is begging Lim to take a reward. Lim puts on an Oscar-worthy performance, feigning shock. Oh, I couldn't possibly, right until they force it into his hands. He accepts with a humble bow, but on the inside, he is losing his mind over the fortune and high-grade magic stones he just scored. Time to ghost. He deploys his shield, hops on with Lily, and they blast off. The heroes watch in awe, having zero clue that Lily's little friend is actually a legendary titan. As the first awakened generation, they have got a long road ahead. Lim wishes them luck from afar as they begin the trek home. Back at base, Lim checks in on the house sitter. Min instantly bursts into tears, wailing about where they have been. While Rice Cake chimes in, something bad went down. The rainbows are fading. It is an omen. Min explains the president just issued a warning. Hundreds of gates are cracking open. Apocalypse incoming. Lim and Lily lock eyes and grin like absolute maniacs. Min is totally confused, stammering that Wang already bolted for the guild. Rice Cake wants an update on his brother, but Lim is just impressed Min didn't bail. Honestly, I thought you'd run for the hills, kid. But Min stayed loyal. Lim is actually touched. He stares up at the dying rainbow and barks an order. Pack your bags. Now. Less than a week until the end of the world. They rush to the guild. where Yunue storms up, looking ready to murder Lim for disappearing. She is screaming. She called a dozen times during a national emergency, and his phone was dead. She demands to know if he realizes how screwed they are. Lim waves her off. Save the lecture. I got enough nagging on the ride over. He turns just in time to see Min giving Yunue a warm hello. They recognize each other from the lake incident. Small talk over, though Yunue immediately pivots. Where's your team evacuating to? Evacuation, Lim ignores her. Got a spare room. We won't be long. Yunue squints at him. Did you just come from behind a gate? She offers an escort, but insists he report to the guild head first. Lim. He pretends he did not hear a word she said. He tells Sir Deok to haul the luggage so he can crash. Yunue snaps. You know you are the only one who blew off the emergency summons, right? She warns him the head is furious. Lim smirks. Maybe he wouldn't be mad if he respected my weekend. Suddenly, the door crashes open. It is Wang. Lim starts to ask where he has been, but the big guy roars, Commander! And launches himself like a missile. Lim barely dodges the tackle. Have you lost your mind? Wang hits the floor sobbing. He thought Lim abandoned him. Lim sighs, patting the big guy on the shoulder. Listen, even if the whole world hates me, I would never leave you behind. Wang beams with pure joy. Meanwhile, Lim thinks, of course not. You're the perfect meat shield. They finally report to the head's office. The chief gestures for them to sit. Yang points out Lim was outside the zone, but Chan isn't buying any excuses. The chief grills Lim on the disaster. Lim plays dumb. Just heard rumors, but Chan drops a bomb. The great sage Aximus contacted me personally. Aximus delivered a prophecy about the seventh night. He told Chan to hand leadership to the Wheel of Fate, the one who brings the light. Chan thinks that means Lim's team. Everyone nods solemnly. Lim feels a tiny, microscopic twinge of guilt for playing them like fiddles. Lim seizes the chance. If the invasion starts, the 7th squad goes solo. Trust me, I have got this. Defending fixed points is a waste of time. He argues. You need a strike team to hunt down the source and kill it. He breaks it down. The Night of the 7 Moons is being driven by 7 specific gates, hidden among the hundreds of decoys. These are the routes. Smash the main moon gate, and dozens of smaller ones will vanish instantly. Conveniently, Lim, while cosplaying as Aximus, had already handed the guild coordinates for 6 of them. Flashback time. Aximus told Chan he could not track the final gate because of red energy interference. Chan bought it, just grateful for the help. The truth, Lim held back the red gate's location for one reason. He wants that soul stone for himself. This is it, Lim thinks. My chance for the ultimate transformation. Chan nods, agreeing with the strategy. Chan hesitates. Is the prophecy really that simple? Yunue suspects a hidden meaning, while Wang grumbles that it is all too complicated for his brain. Lim senses the doubt. Why would a benevolent sage speak in riddles if he wants to save us? He interrupts. Don't overthink it. Sold. The 7th squad gets full autonomy. 3 days of prep fly by in a blur. At the White House training grounds, Lim is coaching Wang. Can you feel the path the mana takes? Do you remember it? Wang stares blankly. Nope. Lim groans. Pay attention this time. I am doing it again. He is teaching the Diamond Power Fist from the Sword Emperor's archives. It is an external art, so the breathing technique should be child's play. It is perfect for hardening Wang's body. Lim finishes the demo. Okay, big guy, got it now. Wang scratches his head. Still no. They go again, and again, until Lim finally snaps. That was the 30th time, he screams. A monkey would learn faster than you, Lim yells, but Wang is not fazed. He just grins. I will keep practicing alone until I nail it, boss. Lim steps into the open, the weight of the coming storm pressing down on him. He scans the horizon. Only a single purple streak remains of the rainbow. That is the final warning. Total disaster is knocking at the door. Beside him, Lily is happily obliterating her lunch. Good, he asks dryly. She nods with tragic enthusiasm. He had bought 3 entire boxes of chicken. Yet, miracle of miracles, they are already nothing but a memory. If you are done stuffing your face, gear up, Lim cuts in sharply. You need to work off that bill. Lily freezes, the betrayal hitting her instantly, so that is why the chicken was free. There is always a catch. Lim knows exactly what nightmare awaits them inside the red gate once the clock runs out. It is a literal hellscape of soaring flames and boiling lava, a death trap where one wrong step means incineration. Survival demands total stealth. They have to move while suppressing their aura, but killing the boss, that requires a specific weapon, the Ice Dragon's Fang. And naturally, Lim's luck is terrible. Because that artifact is locked deep inside the Black Hound Guild headquarters. Lim's face darkens as the destination sinks in. Of all the places on Earth, the loot just had to be stashed at his old office. The Black Hound Guild, a factory of nightmares where he slaved away his youth in his previous life. The conditions were barbaric, and the phrase work-life balance was treated like a dirty joke. Time off was a myth unless you were actively bleeding out or dead. Lim thinks back, a bitter smirk on his face. If he had just taken the time for knee rehabilitation back then, well, or maybe his entire destiny would have shifted. But the past is dead. Now, coursing with sword energy honed by the Pachang technique, he locks in. The blueprints of the building flash in his mind. Every camera angle, every vault, every blind spot, he remembers it all. Got it, Lim mutters. Target acquired the security control room. Inside, the guards are climbing the walls. Everyone else is fleeing to the shelters. And we are stuck here babysitting the lobby. One groans, I am losing my mind. I should have just robbed a grocery store. The other screams, venting his frustration. The blonde guard snaps back. Hey, you left the damn door wide open. The second the sirens go off, I am sprinting for the shelter. They agree, but the rant dies in their throats as the air in the room grows heavy. Something is wrong. Why did the feed cut out? They squint at the black screen, assuming a glitch. Then they check which camera it is. Cold realization hits that camera is pointing directly at their door. Too late. Lim kicks the door in and drops them both before they can even reach for their weapons. Sleep tight, boys, Lim whispers. It has been a lifetime since he stood in this control center. Without a second of hesitation, he slams his fist onto the emergency alarm button. Red lights flash and sirens scream. The entire guild locks down intruder alert in the representative's room. Then, a voice crackles over the PA system. It is Lim. He spins a seamless lie. 4-armed hostiles non-superhuman combatants. He barks orders to evacuate all personnel immediately. Converge on the representative's office now. The guild members panic, stampeding toward the target location. They kick down the door, weapons drawn only to find an empty room. They realize the play too late. The control room is locked from the inside. Lim's voice returns, dripping with mockery. The intruder has been neutralized. He figures if they are going to be stuck there, they might as well have a soundtrack. He blasts upbeat music over the speakers to keep them entertained. With the guards dancing to his tune, Lim and Lily smash through the security door deeper in the facility. Lim sighs, reminded that running a guild is nothing but a migraine. Lily, on the other hand, is in heaven. Her eyes go wide at the glittering horde surrounding them. Sparkles is all of this money. Can I trade this for a chicken? She asks. Lim shakes his head, baffled by her single-mindedness. He grabs a massive golden statue but winces. It is dead weight and useless for combat. He drops it. Forget the bling, he commands, to the special armory. This is the real jackpot where the guild hoards otherworldly artifacts they are too stupid to understand. Jackpot. Lim grins. The Ice Dragon's Fang sits on its pedestal, perfectly preserved. The hero grabs the prize time to ghost, but Lily freezes. Wait, she says, pointing a claw at a blank concrete wall. I want to see what is back there. There is a massive pulse of mana behind that stone. She insists. Lim trusts her nose. Stand clear, he warns, winding up a strike infused with raw power, and obliterates the wall in one blow. As the dust clears, Lim's eyes widen at the hidden stash revealed. He smirks at his partner. Good catch. For that, you get 3 raw cheese balls. Lim decides to save the next soul stone for himself, so he tosses this one to Lily. Eat up, he says, though he watches with a frown as she swallows it whole with zero dramatic effect. He wonders if it even worked. The only difference is her claws look a fraction sharper. Well, Lim shrugs, eyeing the loot. Call this my unpaid severance package. Let's go home. By the next morning, the ominous rainbow has been wiped from the sky. But Lily, she has forgotten the world-ending threat. She is only worried about her cheese balls.